bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey, yo, welcome and happy Wednesday. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So, if that is a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today. Included, we have to talk about the Emmy nominations. I'm actually making some drastic changes as we speak because there was something I felt like would be a good transition. So, yeah, we got to talk about the Emmy nominations. We have to talk about Madonna and the fact that she is being eyed for, Confessions 2 has only been out a couple of days. They're looking at it possibly being a like a series of Grammy nominations. We also have to talk about Anne Hathaway talking about that she spent a week prepping to be Harley Quinn before she found out from Christopher Nolan that she was actually playing Catwoman in his Dark Knight Rises movie. We also got to talk about the Britney Spears biopic. We have an update. They actually have a screenwriter, so we'll get into that. We got to talk about ABC going up against the FCC over what's going on over at the THVEBIEW and all the drama that's going on with them. We got to talk about Jack Antonoff is about to split from his wife Margaret Qualley. I was wondering why she wasn't at his concert at MSG, and then they said she also wasn't at Taylor Swift's wedding, which sparked the rumors. Plus, speaking of feuds and things, we got to talk about Tamar Braxton getting paid dust by Kandi Burruss and Monica at the Essence Music Fest. That happened the other day, but after I wrapped up the show, that's when that story started circulating. I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring it on today's show. We also got to talk about Jermaine Dupri is suing Sony because he says that they haven't paid him off for his work for Mariah Carey, Usher, Chris Cross, and a bunch of others. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about Mark Anthony because I was out here wondering, okay, so y'all already know Jennifer and him have a trans child. And I was wondering, how was he dealing with the fact that he has a trans son? And apparently Rob Shutter has the tea on that. So we're gonna get into his story. Apparently, of course, Mark Anthony is of a certain era and he's not all together with the whole thing. I mean, him and Jennifer are about the same age. So I understand how come she's gung-ho and she's okay with it, but he's not. But we'll get into that. Plus, we also have some tea regarding Big Brother. A drag race queen who is currently on this season of Drag Race All Stars has made it on Big Brother, and they were playing the game like they was on Big Brother. Well, they got their wish; they're on the new season of Big Brother. So we'll get into that. Plus, Out did a article on the 10 Drag Race queens who should compete on Big Brother after. Well, the queen was Selena as titties. So since they compiled that, we'll go through their list and we'll see what we think about it. And we also got to talk about Silky Nutmeg Ganache. Funny enough, after um, Kennedy Davenport appeared on there. Now T.S. Madison is interviewing Silky, and Silky is talking about the racism within the drag race fandom, which we have been screaming. Oh, excuse me. We've been screaming about for the longest on this show, and I'm sure other shows have been screaming about it as well. But child, now they talking about. I got something I want to talk about. Talk about. Talk about. So now everybody's talking about. Well, now they're talking about it on this show, and we'll talk about it here. So before we get to all those topics that I just mentioned, please do me a solid, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hype the channel, all the other stuff, so that way it helps out tremendously in the algorithm. I've just been reading about a lot of things. They've been changing the rules and stuff on YouTube. A lot of people's numbers are being affected. Um, I don't know. I'm probably sure I'm getting affected and stuff as well. So it's just a lot of craziness going on with YouTube, and they're trying to cut themselves to all this freaking AI, which is annoying. But and I don't know necessarily what we can do about it. So and then all these different rules and the craziness going on with that. So um Your support is definitely appreciated on everything we do with this show and all that good stuff. So, oh, and shout out to my friend Stephen Phoenix because he showed me there was hold on, now I gotta look it up. I wish I would have screenshot it and showed y'all, but he apparently showed me something where he said that he hyped my show and he got like a little message or whatever the case was that said your weekly recap and hyping this video helped make a difference for Chris Avalon. And it was some 10 others who hyped this video. I wish I could see all of this, but I can't. And it says that I got 1.2K hype points. So the hyping and all that stuff, and that was the one about Adam Lambert calling out toxic masculinity, which I did get a lot of comments and likes and things on that particular topic. So thank you for all of you that hyped it and all the other stuff. So yeah, there's that. Let me hit this thingamabob so where I can put y'all comments up in here. Confessions 2 sounds incredible on vinyl. This is how dance music is. Well, y'all already know I have the vinyl. I don't have anything to play the vinyl on. I wish I did. I feel like if I go to my friend DJ Tennessee's house because he's a DJ, if I played it on his record player, I probably would be able to see what it sounds like. But yeah, but I got the grinder vinyl. You said you got the Pride vinyl. I need to get my deluxe vinyl and the grinder vinyl. This is too many variants. I don't know if I want to be spending all that money on all this stuff. Loving the instrumental album that was issued to help the charge. There's also another iTunes album where the Times Square live audio is available. And then I know that some people are like, yeah, the fans are not really out here supporting her digitally, and she's been pushing the um Spotify link because while she's saying that she doesn't care about the charts, actually she does care about the charts and is trying to get a lot of people to, help out over there on the Spotify trend. I was like, I don't care about all that shit. I mean, I know she does. I said, look, I did my part. I went and I bought some of the physical media because we're dealing with a lot of stuff right now where everything we buy that's digital, we're just buying zeros and ones. We don't even own this stuff because the other day I was looking and I was like, I was in a mood to watch a movie. And I was like, wait a minute, didn't I buy this film? Why is it not in the thing? And what's been going on? I don't know if y'all been hearing about the thing with Sony, but Sony has this thing where I believe in 2029, they're gonna stop. Is it 2028 or 2029? I can't remember. They're gonna stop um people are going to lose everything that they got from Sony or whatever the case is, particularly with games and movies and things of that nature. And it's pissing a lot of people off because it's like you want to buy physical media so you can own it, but y'all not even making the product anymore. Y'all want us to literally not own anything and to be cut to these corporations who will continue to make money off of us renting things. And then we can no longer have autonomy to the things that we pay for. But my thing is this, there needs to be a law or something put into place. We need to maybe push our Congress people to do this, is that if I buy something and y'all take it away, then y'all need to put my money, give me my money back. There needs to be a way that if I buy a movie and it's no longer in the thing for me to watch because y'all only are distributing the product, there should be a way for me to actually get a refund. And that's the last thing y'all don't want. Y'all don't want to have to give people their money back. You want to be able to have people be able to just spend, and y'all want to take, but don't give the fans or the people that's actually going in and buying the product anything in return. So I don't like that. And it's probably gonna happen because somebody's gonna be brave enough to go out and file a lawsuit and sue for y'all taking what they paid for, and y'all don't wanna have people have access to it after a certain amount of years. Girls Aloud is doing a deluxe reissue. Well, good for them. Yeah, that's what was pissing me over the whole PlayStation thing. They're getting rid of the physical copies of video game. Okay, so it was 2028. I thought it was 2020. I was like 2028 or 2029. I couldn't remember which year. People have now lost the trophies of their accomplishments. That's what, child, it is unfair. And that's why I said it's some bullshit. And Sony thinking that this is a great idea and a flex, y'all gonna lose a lot of fandom and they're gonna wind up boycotting y'all stuff. Billboard needs to do what the UK charts do and limit streams to 10 streams per day. Well, they all try to come out here and try to find ways to cheat the algorithm and spin things in their favor and all that other stuff. This. The world of where the corporations just getting away with murder without any kind of consequence to their actions is just ridiculous to me. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, oh wait, I went and hit the wrong thing. That's what I want to do. Okay. So without further ado, let me hit my banner and let's get into our first topic. We'll get to the other comments and everything else later on. So first, let's talk about it. I didn't even know this was happening, but the Emmy nominations were released this morning. I know they were talking about Emmy predictions and stuff, but I was like, oh, so is it that time already that the Emmys is now about to be talked about? Well, yeah, the Emmy nominations is out. And The Pitt, which is a hit show over there on HBO and HBO Max, is leading with 25 nominations. The funny thing, I have not even watched The Pitt yet. I know it's the second season, just ended. I've been hearing great things about it. Normally, I used to like procedural shows and all this other stuff. Not so much. I feel like I've outgrown it. But everybody keeps saying like The Pit is an exception. You need to check it out. I'm gonna definitely check it out. I just found out LL Cool J got a new job. He about to do a spinoff of NCIS called NCIS New York with Scott Kahn and Jennifer Beals. I just read that article earlier. But one of the biggest surprises for me that I'm actually happy that got nominated is one of my favorite shows right now on Apple TV, called Widow's Bay. If y'all have not seen that show, I implore you to check it out. It is so good. If you're a fan of like Stephen King, where it's like that creepy atmospheric type of stuff and it's got like that horror feel to it, but it's also pretty funny at points. Definitely check out Widow's Bay. I don't know what the hell y'all missing. I'm glad I caught that show when I didn't know much about it. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Let me check it out. And ever since I put the first episode on, it is a slow burn, but I was immediately hooked. But anyway, so the Pitt and Hacks, of course, because they always nominate that damn show, cemented their Emmy frontrunner status, picking up 25 and 24 nominations, respectively, as the TV Academy, well, Television Academy, if you want to be specific, announced the nominees for the 78th Annual Emmy Awards Wednesday, July 8th. The Pitt and several of its stars will look to repeat after a strong showing at the Emmys last year. The hit medical drama won Outstanding Drama Series in 2025, while stars Noah Wiley and Catherine Lanasa both picked up acting prizes. The show is once again nominated for Outstanding Drama Series, while Wiley and Lanasa, Patrick Ball, Sean Hannity, Garon Howell, Taylor Dearden, Fiona Dourif. I didn't know Fiona Dourif was on the show. Last thing I know she was on was that horrible ass Chucky series. And Sepida, or is it Sapita? Sapita Moafi, I would guess that's how we'll say her name. Or if I'm botching it, I apologize. Or and your friends and neighbors. Oh wait, sorry, I read that wrong. Are all nominated for their performances. Now, in Outstanding Drama Series, The Pit will compete against The Gilded Age, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which I love that show too. I was upset that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms didn't get nominated in the acting category because I'm like, wait a minute, Dunk was the guy that played Dunk in the show. He's actually pretty good. I love like he's this big doofy guy, but he's very childlike. And then you get Egg, the little bald-headed child, and we find out that, if you've seen the show, you know the twist of who he actually is. And just that dynamic between them, that alone should have been nominated in the acting category, but they just didn't get a nomination, which I just think is ridiculous. So yeah, so we have a Gilded Age, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Paradise, Pluribus, Slow Horses, and Your Friends and Neighbors. Meanwhile, in comedy, hacks will look to reclaim not only their time, but the outstanding comedy series Crown. It won in 2024, but lost to the studio last year. Jean Smart will also look to win her fifth straight outstanding lead actress in a comedy series prize for her portrayal of Deborah Vance, while Hannah Einbinder is once again nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series, a prize she finally won in 2025. We all love for her speech because she was all about free Palestine and all that stuff. Now, an Outstanding Comedy Series, I should say, Hacks will be up against Abbott Elementary. Shout out, well, sorry to hear that Cheryl Lee Ralph was not nominated for in the actor category, but I did hear that she was snubbed. So yeah, so the Hacks will go up against Abbott Elementary. This still irritates me to this day. Why is the bear in the comedy category? There's nothing funny about that show. It has little silly moments, but it's not a comedy. So why do they keep putting it in the comedy spot? That's just baffling to me. But whatever, The Bear wasn't really getting acknowledged anyway because after season two, that show kind of fell off, quiet as it's kept. So Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Margot's Got Money Troubles, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, Shrinking, and Widow's Bay. Now I can understand Widow's Bay being in the comedy series because, like I said earlier, it is deemed a horror series. It's very suspenseful. It's got that whole Stephen King creep factor to it. But there are moments in the show where I would burst out laughing because it's genuinely funny. Wait, why is my phone going to my translate something in Arabic? Now it says in terms of total nominations, right behind the Pitt and Hacks, with two big breakout shows of the past year, Pluribus and Widow's Bay. Widow's Bay, the creepy comedy about a haunted New England island, picked up 19 nominations, including acting looks for stars Matthew Rhys, Stephen Root, Dale Dickey, and Kate O'Flynn. Well, those core four people they mentioned there are the best parts of the show in regards to the acting part. I love that old lady on the show that works at the in the mayor's office, and she was doing like this whole there's a scene in the show where she does like this whole spreadsheet thing to find out about the ancestry of the island and why it's creepy and who were all the descendants of the people, because they found out like if you kill off the last living descendant of the town of the guy who basically it's a long story, it's hard to explain, but if you kill the last living descendant, which if you watch the show you find out who that is, the curse will be lifted. And when she's going through this whole thing and she's naming all the like the kids and all this other stuff, and the way she says lesbian in that scene had me cackling. And they were like, "Would you stop saying it that like lesbian?" It was just funny, especially with that smoker's voice that she had. You got to be there if you've seen it. So yeah, like I said, it was like they picked up 19 nominations. Now, in Pluribus, the post-apocalyptic sci-fi series from Breaking Bad creator Gilligan. I've never seen Pluribus. I don't even know what. I mean, I don't know what the show's about. I might want to check this out because it says post-apocalyptic. The only post-apocalyptic show that I'm watching right now is another one that's on Apple called, I don't know, is Pluribus on Apple? I don't know where it's at. But Silo. I actually like that show. So the show is stars Rhea Seehorn, and they said that she's back in contention for an acting Emmy after twice losing for her celebrated turn on Gilligan's Breaking Bad prequel series, Better Call Saul. And her co-stars, Carlos Manuel Vesca and Carolina Widra, are both nominated for their categories. Now, other notable nominees this year include Beef and DTF, St. Louis, which led to the limited series categories. Reliable Emmy favorites like Only Murders in the Building, Abbott Elementary, Slow Horses, and The Diplomat also picked up nominations, as did The Bear, though notably star Jeremy Allen White missed out on an acting nod after three previous nominations and two wins. Look, he's won enough. It didn't look as long you already walked away with some Emmys. Y'all ain't got to win every year. It's kind of like the whole thing where I'm annoyed with the whole Gene Smart. I'm like, how many awards does she need at this point? It's kind of like RuPaul because he was nominated again. We'll get into that. His co-star Io Edeberry, also previous winner, did score another nomination, while the late Rob Reiner earned a posthumous acting nod for his guest appearance on the show. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert picked up 9 Emmy nominations just months after his historic run ended following CBS's decision to cancel the long-running late-night program. Euphoria, for its final season, was largely shut out of the major categories, but both Zendaya and Coleman Domingo were nominated for their performances, and Bad Bunny will be eligible for his first Emmy after his Super Bowl halftime show picked up 9 nominations. I also heard Taylor Swift was nominated for that Eras Tour special. I also heard that Connor Story was nominated, even though, which is why we have his picture here, which is Heated Rivalry can't get nominated because it's a Canadian show, but um he was nominated, I believe, for his performance on SNL. So now, actors and recent Emmy winners Jeff Hiller and Liza Cologne Zayas revealed the nominees at a presentation ceremony Wednesday morning. Mariska Hargitay, the first woman in 15 years to host the Emmys, will be hosting the Emmy Awards on September 14th. So shout out to her. Also, let's take a look at, now we did that. I did name some of the people that was snubbed. There's some more. So let's get into it. So now, Paul Anthony Kelly was snubbed for his soulful lead in Love Story, JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. So he played JFK Jr. and they said that his he didn't impact voters enough with his doppelganger performance. Now um he looked like JFK Jr. I don't know. I didn't watch the show. I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to Ryan Murphy and his type of shows, so I didn't really engage and I wasn't interested. But Onyx, friend to the show, was loving every bit of it. Well, I mean, when the show was on the air, he couldn't stop talking about it. Now, Stranger Things final season was left out of best drama and acting categories. It did receive plenty of love below the line, and in below the line categories. But audiences was not spread the love to the show overall. And that's because that last season was ass. A lot of people were just disappointed, and after don't even get me started on that damn finale. So I can totally understand why they were overlooked. And also, the star Euphoria cast was left behind as well because we talked about Zendaya and Coleman Domingo being left out. And yeah, it seemed like Euphoria didn't make much of an impact on voters. And the show Once Upon a Time, I think at the beginning was celebrated, but a lot of people felt like this final season was very divisive, and they weren't really feeling a lot of the direction they were going into. They didn't like the whole thing. Like you heard all the stuff about Cassie and all the drama that they didn't like the whole the storyline, the fact of where y'all had the direction you had Nate going. I'm in a bind, Nate. You had him going in that whole situation. So there was a lot of creative decisions that I think a lot of people had a problem with this final season of Euphoria that the voters was like, whatever. I ain't quiet as it's kept. They probably didn't even watch it. It was like, you know what? You first of all, you took too damn long to come back, and I just don't give a crap about this show anymore. So I ain't watching it. I don't care. It's the final season. Fuck them hoes. That's probably the way that the Emmy voters was looking. And so yeah, as I mentioned before, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, they received 9 nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series, but none of the actors were nominated. And I already gave my grip, I already bitched about my feelings on the lack of acting category nominations for the cast of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And Dance with the Stars, for the first time in 10 years, got a slot in reality competition program. Which hold on, because they go and I think they outfox the Amazing Race, which I guess is pretty good because Dance with the Stars, I didn't really watch it, but people seem to have really liked this season. And I think wasn't this the season they had Robert Irwin's son on there? And now he's hosting some new reality competition show where they're looking for the next whoever wins this competition series gets a permanent spot as a dancer on the next season of Dancing with the Stars. So I'm trying to look for the category. So outstanding reality competition program is Dancing with the Stars, RuPaul's Drag Race, Survivor, Top Chef, and The Traitors. And then I'm trying to see where they had, the whole RuPaul, because I know RuPaul was nominated again too. I did see that, but I don't see that in the list that I have. So that's neither here nor there because it goes into your usual category. So, and then Selena Gomez got snubbed because she received the nod for her role as executive producer on Only Murders in the Building. She wasn't. She was overlooked in the role that she plays at the show, and everybody said she's pretty good on the show. So yeah, she was snubbed. Now Taylor Sheridan, who creates a lot of shows over there at Paramount Plus, but he's gone now, and now he's gone over to NBC Universal. So Tulsa King was nominated for in the stunt category. That's it. Um, and everybody's talking about that Michelle Pfeiffer's doing good on the Madison, and they're talking about that season 2 of Landman was good, but maybe the Emmy people are just not here for the whole Ellison takeover and all the bullshit that they got going on over there at Paramount Plus. So they ain't here for that. They probably like, oh yeah, we're just gonna punish every show that y'all got going on over there because we just don't like the direction that these rich, spoiled brat oligarchs who don't know nothing about movie making. And I don't give a good goddamn that David Ellison owns Skydance and has produced a lot of content, including Mission Impossible films or whatever the case is. It's just the way that y'all handle a lot of stuff in Hollywood is just not gelling with a lot of people. So, um, what else? Ariana Madix got nominated for Love Island. I guess that's her revenge against that nutbag over there that just got into a wing of trouble again. What's the name of the one that was on that show with her that all of a sudden pushed his father-in-law or something or another in a pit of fire? I had that big fallout with her. I can't remember his name. That's how relevant he is. So what else? Oh, and then they said Jamie Bell missed for Half Man. I've been hearing great things about Half Man. I haven't seen the show. Everybody says it's gay than that other show that the guy who created Half Man, what's his name? Richard Gadd. There was another show that he created, I believe that was on Netflix. That was like there's a scene where he gets SA by a woman. And he created a show called Half Man. Everybody talks about how good it is. I haven't seen it yet. And here's a bigger surprise, and this probably gonna make Andy Cohen's anal canal pucker a little bit. His show Summer House landed Outstanding Unstructured Reality Program nomination. And I guess it's because of this whole Amanda Batula and Wes Wilson drama. Because this whole it was Tom Sandoval. See, this is how I remembered because it's saying something about a scandalous hookup, and I was like, scandalous, Sandoval, Tom Sandoval. That's how I freaking remembered the whole Tom Sandoval situation was from that. So yeah. So Summer House, child, quiet as a kid. I don't watch nothing on Bravo. I barely even watch The Housewives anymore because I feel like I've outgrown all the ridiculous shenanigans and everything over there that's pertaining to that series. So yeah, so a lot of people got snubs. Sydney Sweeney, the kids from Stranger Things. Shout out to um Widow's Bay for getting all the nominations and the accolades and the support and everything else that's been going on with that. So I'm really excited over that show. It'd be great to see, like, once the Emmys and everything happens, how many of those nominations will turn into wins. And it may also bring more eyes and attention to the show because before the finale even aired of Widow's Bay, a season two was greenlit. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to go with this show. Hopefully they keep the same tone, but just make it bigger and better. Not saying that you got to put more money behind it. Keep the show as it is. It just don't jump the shark, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So congratulations to all the Emmy nominees and congratulations, I guess, to um those who got snubbed too. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story about the Emmy nominations? Were some of your faves acknowledged? Are there some shows that you're upset that were snubbed in the Emmy categories that we didn't bring up? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Nintendo is the only gaming system that has physical copies for now. We'll see. Just got off. I was wondering wait, what? When we'll know if Madonna hit number one. Keep seeing it's between her and oh yeah, her and Olivia Rodrigo. You say it's Sunday at least 4 p.m. New York time. So I guess we'll find it because the album, I thought it would have came out this week because the album came out last Friday. So it probably has to count from last Friday, this Friday, and then we'll find out next week. So yeah, we won't know until next week and then we'll talk about it because everybody keeps saying it keeps going back and forth between her and Olivia. And you know what? I love you, Olivia Rodrigo, but I feel like with Madonna being 4 decades into the game, her getting a number one album in the US would be the giant middle finger that she can give to a lot of her haters, especially everybody who keeps saying, like, you're too old. Why do you keep doing this? Just go away. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just a way of who says that at a certain age, wherever the case is, you should just wither away and die. Olivia has a long career ahead of her. Madonna's already, had such a long lasting career. And to see someone who's been in the business for so long still going and finding new creative, fresh ways to keep doing what they do, I just think it's just awesome. And it just goes to show that hopefully this will be a way for all the younger girls in the future to realize, yeah, you don't have to just retire or go away or whatever because society tells you to. If you have it within yourself to want to create and put something else out there, you still have something to say at 67, at 77, shit, at 87. Go in the studio and make that album. You mean NCI is There's a video where it says the show were like Israel propaganda. We had no idea until yeah. Um, I can agree with that. First of all, I've never really watched a lot of the NCIS shows. I know, like, my mother is a big component of like watching a lot of the NCISs and the FBIs, everything with a goddamn acronym in it. They'll be up, her and my father, they watch, because they of a certain age. So they watch the CBS stuff. I don't watch any of the stuff on CBS. I'm just surprised I got Paramount Plus. I barely even watch it. But I think the only reason why I keep it is because of Drag Race, which is a ridiculous reason, but that's the only way. And speaking of which, there's so many damn Drag Race iterations we get. We got Drag Race Canada starting tomorrow. Drag Race France dropped today. I need to do a viewing episode of that. Why is Coleman Domingo listed as a guest actor? It just sounds weird to me. He's not really a guest actor. He's part of the cast. He pops up here and there, but he's not a guest. That's I honestly, if look, if I had a dollar for trying to figure out why some of the decisions they make over there with this show, I'd probably be a millionaire with the way because I just don't even understand some of the category choices they come up with for some of these shows. You thought the Golden Globes was bad. I'm like, child, the Emmys, y'all about to take the cake with some of these nominations. Hunter Schafer and Alexis Demi are both nominated for a Gold Derby Award, but let's be real, Jules' character was paid dust. They stay playing with that girl. Selena Gomez is a shitty actress, at least. Gaga ate with Ryan Murphy. Oh, speaking of which, she got Grammy nomination too for that Dead Damn song. I know she was desperately trying to claim her to get that. Kylie was paid dust, but that's territory. It's a bunch of white people. Madonna being in a fourth imperial phase. This hasn't been seen. It's unexpected because she's closer to 70. Well, look. Well, one thing about Madonna is she's always been the one to break the rules, right? And to um kind of be the cataclysm or the blueprint for others to follow in her footsteps. So she'll be the blueprint for that. And everybody wants about, but what about Diana Ross? Or what about Cher? What about I said, what about them? Are they putting out new music at 67? No. They still out here regurgitating the shit they've already done. So it's not the same. Anyway, now speaking of Tanta, let's talk about Madonna. So apparently, so now we can go from the Emmys and talk about the Grammys. So we are what about I would say 6 months away from the Grammys, give or take. Was it July? Okay, I was a little off by a month, about 7 months off from the Grammys premiering on our TV screens and things of that nature. And Madonna's new album, Confessions 2, has only been out for less than a week. And already there is some spillation, some talk basically about her possibly being nominated for a plethora of Grammys. I saw a bunch of shows talking, well, a bunch of websites and things talking about it. So shout out to Billboard, because this is the one I saw first. So we're going to use their situation. So it says the strong early response from Madonna's Confessions 2 makes it seem likely that it could win for Best Dance slash Electronic Album at the 69, oh, not 69, 69, dude. Okay, let me stop being immature. Best Dance Electronic Album at the 69th Annual Grammy Awards on February 7th, 20 years after Confessions on the Dance Floor danced off with the honor in 2006. That would make Madonna the first woman ever to win twice in that category, which was introduced in 2005. So it was introduced around the time that she put out Confessions. Funny enough how they did that. And would give her the longest span of wins in that category, a title currently held by the Chemical Brothers, whose wins span 14 years. Well, I do love the Chemical Brothers. Sidebar. I do want to say before I get in the rest of this article, listening to Confessions too, and I was listening to it, of course, again yesterday. I actually listened to the album twice yesterday. I don't know what's happening to me, but I'm obsessed with this record. After I listened to the song again, because I don't know, certain songs kept popping in my head, and I had to like listen to those songs again. I wound up putting on like some old 90s trip hop music. So yesterday I was listening to Sneaker Pimps, the first album, because that was when they had the girl on there, and I didn't particularly care for the other stuff. I did notice the new version, they changed songs on there. Spin Spin Sugar is not the version that I usually that was from the original album. They started putting different versions of the songs in there. Six Underground, they actually have the Nelly Hooper version on the album, and they removed the original version, which I like the original version because it kind of had like that trip hop sound. But they put the Nelly because I guess the Nelly Hooper version was more popular, but it don't matter. I got the CD. If I want to listen to the original, I can put it on somewhere. And I got a PS5, so I can play my CDs in that. Not only that, but I was listening to Portishead's first album, Dummy. I don't know what was coming over me yesterday, but I was listening to Sneaker Pimps and Portishead. That's what my brain was listening to. It was like, and that's what Madonna kind of like with the new album. That's what she took me creatively. It was like, let me revisit some of these old trip hop albums from the I don't want to say from the 80s, from the 90s, because it was like mid 90s when those albums came out, mid to late 90s. So now Confessions 2 has a solid 83 rating at Crit aggregating website Metacritic, the second highest rating for any of the 10 post 2000 Madonna albums listed. The only one with a higher rating is the 2009 compilation Celebration. Billboard's Kate Bain wrote about the album on its Friday, July 3rd release day, said altogether, Confessions 2 is a stunner, playing as a modern take on club music that simultaneously evokes the genre's previous eras without ever falling into pastiche. In a subsequent Billboard ranking of all the album's tracks, Bain and Joe Lynch, who identify themselves as two lifelong Queen of Pop acolytes, right? Madonna comfortably veers between insecurity and omnipotence, candor and camp, spiritual fortification, and libidinous release on her most compelling release since, well, Confessions on the Dance Floor. Now, I had to read that carefully because the mouth vomit of all that. I'm like, child, you trying to tongue twist me up in this bitch? Me having to read all them, I was gonna say read all them big words like I'm slow. Anyway, I had way too many windows open, so I had to close that real quick. Anyway, so where was I? Now, Madonna could win Grammys for individual tracks on the album. Warner Records is tentatively planning to enter I Feel So Free for Best Dance / Electronic Recording and either Danceteria or Bring Your Love featuring Sabrina Carpenter for Best Dance Pop Recording. I could definitely see them going with the whole Sabrina Madonna collab and I Feel So Free. I also think y'all need to put Danceteria up in there because that's definitely a bop. Now they said the latter hit may be submitted for pop duo or group performance. If it is accepted there, it cannot also compete for best dance pop recording. This project will also compete for album, record, and song of the year, best music film for Confessions 2, the film, and best music video for Bring It Up. Look, they, sorry, but Warner Brothers, y'all are absolutely smart for doing this because I definitely feel that with all these different nominations and stuff, it definitely will help out with the thing. Because I was like, wait a minute, I totally forgot like with the Grammys, you could also nominate for the film portion. Because I was like, yeah, that would definitely, in my opinion, work for her if that was something that she was willing to do. So if you want to nominate it in the film category, because I'm sure they have like short form music video, whatever you want to call it, whatever stupid category, because I'm sure they probably had to come up with that with Taylor Swift and all the little crazy things she be trying to do, um, that would have worked in their favor. So the project will also compete. I think I read this one already, but it says that if Madonna wins in all three dance categories, it will be the second time she has won 3 Grammys in one night after 1999 and would take her career tally of Grammy wins into double digits. To date, Madonna has won 7 Grammys, a healthy total, but one that may be lower than you would expect for an artist of her stature and longevity. Grammy voters took their time warming up to Madonna. That is so true. Because I was always wondering, like, with all the work and all the music and things that she's been putting out over the years, what the hell took them so long to actually finally acknowledge her as a force to be reckoned with or to give her a Grammy? She didn't start winning Grammys until, wasn't it Ray of Light? I could have sworn like Ray of Light was the album that they started giving her the Grammys, or was it basically Confess? Because I do remember no, it was Ray of Light because I remember when she performed Nothing Really Matters with full kimono and everything. God, why am I having a flashback to Drag Race? And then her and William Orbit was up there on stage, and then she was winning multiple awards and stuff in that category and everything. So it was like because she went and decided to get a little serious, and then of course followed that underground European trend because it started to trickle over in America with electronic music and all this other stuff. That's when y'all started paying her mind. And then she started kind of going off in these other territories. And that was, Confessions came out and y'all gave her the nominations and stuff again. But I do feel like, yeah, she should have been she should, child, quiet as it's kept. Her number should be up there with Beyonce. How Beyonce got more Grammy wins than she does? Beyonce got over what was it, like almost 3 dozen Grammys. Madonna only got less than 10. Like, that is blasphemous. But then again, you know, a lot of times, if you're going to be a true die in the wolves artist, you can't be out here just doing things for the sake of, oh, I'm trying to win a Grammy. If I win a Grammy, that's great. I would love to win a Grammy. But if I don't win a Grammy, I'm not going to sit up here and, punch the air because people won't acknowledge my best work. And then you get those honorary awards like they be trying to do with the Oscars. Oh, fuck your honorary Oscar. The fuck I'm gonna do with an honorary Oscar? I should have won back when I was giving my best damn performance. But you ain't want to acknowledge it. You felt somebody else did better than me. So Madonna wasn't even nominated for Best New Artist in 1984 and 85. She wasn't nominated in any of what are often called the Big Four categories: album, record, or song of the year, plus Best New Artist until 1999, when Ray of Light was up for Album of the Year and its title track. Okay, so it was Ray of Light. It was funny. If I would have read the rest of the article, I would have remembered. But I was trying to go based off my brain memory. And its title track competed for Record of the Year. She was nominated for Record of the Year again 2 years later for music, her only other nod in a Big Four category to date. This mirrors the early industry view, which clearly turned out to be wrong, that Madonna might prove to be a flash in the pan. Madonna wasn't asked to be part of the all-star We Are the World recording session on January 28, 1985, even though she had landed her first top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Borderline more than 7 months previously. Madonna not for the first or last time, had the last laugh. Her Crazy for You dislodged USA for Africa's We Are the World from the #1 spot on the Hot 100 in May of 1985. Well, I think that's always been why Madonna always says the most controversial thing I've ever done was to stick around. And it's because y'all be trying to get rid of her. And she's like, well, bitch, I'm going to go when I'm ready to go, not when you say I should go. So whenever her naysayers come at her, that's when I feel like she's at her most resilient and she puts out her best body of work. So it's like, oh, y'all want to exclude me because y'all want to have Miss Cyndi Lauper, and I live for Cyndi Lauper, but y'all want her to go, well, wait. That little thing wailing she does, and We Are the World, her little moment. Y'all wanted her to do that on the thing, and she did. But y'all got dethroned by Madonna because it was like, yeah, We Are the World. You can take that world and shove it up your ass. That's what Madonna said. And then she beat y'all with Crazy for You, which no shade is a much better song and a song we're singing to this day. But I get it. It was about charity, USA Africa, apartheid. That was what that was about at the time. So Madonna had more bumps in the road to eventual acceptance from Grammy voters. Such landmark Madonna singles as Like a Prayer and Vogue weren't nominated for Grammys in any category, even Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Madonna has never been nominated for a Song of the Year, even though she wrote or co-wrote 32 of her 38 top 10 hits on the Hot 100. Madonna has also yet to win a Grammy in a vocal performance category. Grammy voters have long been drawn to singers with big voices in performance categories. Think Whitney Houston and Celine Dion, two people who ain't wrote a lick of their own goddamn songs, but are getting awards for vocal ability. Okay, so Madonna herself has said that she doesn't fit in that mold. I know I'm not the greatest singer or dancer, but that doesn't interest me. I'm interested in being provocative and pushing people's buttons. I believe when did she say that? Didn't she say that in Truth or Dare? But it's like, yeah, I know I'm not the best singer or dancer in the world, but I have something. But I actually have an opinion. I have something to say. I'm not just going. I'm not one of them boring ass broads that stand up there and that got a 4 or 5 octave vocal range and can hit every damn note. That to me is boring. It's like, what do you have to provide to the world as an artist? Instead of you just standing there singing other people's songs and getting accolades for it. Madonna isn't the only superstar whose Grammy tally is lighter than you might imagine. Janet Jackson, for instance, has won just 5 Grammys and has had just one nomination as a lead artist in a Big Four category, and that was for AOTY for Control. Album of the Year, for those who don't know the acronyms. Her follow up album, Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation 1814, was not nominated in that category, though it was voted into the Grammy Hall of Fame this year. Yeah, that's ridiculous how y'all just ignored. And Rhythm Nation is one of Janet's best albums because she gets very political on that record. So for y'all to just ignore that, to me, it's just baffling. Now, several factors have played a role here. The Grammys didn't add genre album categories such as Best Pop Vocal Album until 1995. The Grammys also dropped their Best Disco Recording category after presenting it just once in 1980 and didn't re-add a category specifically devoted to dance music until 2005 because the music industry, particularly in the US, wasn't taking dance music in seriously until around that time because dance music was still an underground thing in the US, but it was much bigger overseas in other countries. And you already know because we are a young country in the US, not an excuse, but we are. We always late to the party when it comes to what's popping off in other aspects of the world and what people are resonating with. So we always late to get on the bandwagon. But I guess the disco recording only was presented once in 1980 because around that time that was sort of like when disco was coming to the end and it was the beginning of the disco sucks era. So that's probably why they didn't bring it up. Now the Recording Academy's focus in recent years on expanding and diversifying its membership with an eye to adding much younger female and non-white members came too late to benefit Madonna and Jackson at their career peaks because those were the groups of people that their music was catering to. A lot of black folks, a lot of Hispanic folks are the ones who are out here listening to Janet and Madonna. Now, such artists as Child, not that fake ass put together group. Cat's Eye, Addison Rae, and Tate McRae have been nominated in recent years. The Academy of the 1980s would have probably ignored them. Madonna won 3 of her 7 Grammys to date in film and video categories. She has won Best Music Film twice for Blonde Ambition World Tour in 1992, her first Grammy win in any category, and the Confessions Tour in 2008. She won Best Music Video once for Ray of Light in 1999, and which is also her lone video to date to take home Video of the Year at the MTV Video Music Awards. Now, 2 of her other Grammys to date are in dance categories. Best Dance category for Ray of Light in 1999 and Best Dance Electronic Album for Confessions on the Dance Floor. Her other 2 Grammy wins to date are Best Pop Vocal Album for Ray of Light in 1999 and Best Song Written for Visual Media for Beautiful Stranger from Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me in 2000. If Confessions 2 wins Best Dance Electronic Album, this would be the 4th time in the past 5 years that a woman has won in that category. Beyonce won in 2023 for Renaissance, followed by Charlie XCX in 2025 for Brat, and FKA Twigs in 2026 for You Sexual. Well, yeah, it's definitely Madonna's year, so she should win it in 2027. Now, Stuart Price, who co-produced every track on Confessions 2 with Madonna, would also win if the album won Best Dance Electronic Album, just as he did on Confessions on the Dance Floor. He would also be a co-winner in the other 2 dance categories. Madonna has a mixed record on receiving major institutional honors, though at 67, there's still time. On the plus side, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2008, the first year she was eligible. Her Like a Virgin album was also voted into the National Recording Registry administered by the Library of Congress in 2023. Now, on the other hand, she has yet to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame to receive the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. Well, she definitely needs to be up in there because here's the thing, especially with my Confessions too. The songwriting is back. It's been a minute, because Madonna, I feel like, and there was this article that I read that was saying Madonna forgot to be Madonna. And I think for a long time, she did kind of lose a sense of who she was. And all this trauma that happened in her life, all the stuff that was happening in her life in the past 7 years between Madam X and the celebration tour and everything in between and the release of this record, I definitely feel like she need to go through all those things so that way she can give this fully realized record where it's like through all the pain and the suffering, you find the joy in the music. And the best genre of music that I feel like she was able to get her point across would have to be dance music because people just look at dance music. And I've said this many a times as a house head. Many people look at dance music as something that's just this disposable, forward to the floor, sweat away all your issues and just shake your ass to the beat. For the most part, that could be true. It also is a place where a lot of us use it as an act of rebellion and resilience and those sort of things, especially when you're talking about the queer club scene. A lot of us would go through so much shit, but when we would show up at the clubs, all of our problems were forgotten. I mean, whether you were using party drugs or not, or liquor, or just being sober, you use that dance floor as a way to exercise your demons. It's like the clubs were like a congregation. It's sort of like a church. That's why I always love the fact that it's so ironic when you look at it, how we have the Limelight in New York, which was a nightclub that used to be a church, and they took a church and turned it into a nightclub. And it just had this sense of, y'all might be onto something because it is sort of like a religious experience. And when you're thinking about like the sound of that drum beat and what it does to people, it's very paganistic, I guess I could go off and say. It's like in a way, you're a group of people on the floor exchanging energies, and it's just a higher power taking over you. So it is definitely a religious experience. And to me, with her indoctrinating that into the album, it definitely speaks to what the club culture is really like. So, um, I also think like when I was saying her pen game is bad, like if you really listen to the lyrics of this record, I was like, okay, Miss Thing is not coming in here with these little corny rhyming songs, latte and shate and all that other mess she used to do back in the day. That she really is sitting up in here like, oh, that was a clever line. Like she's really giving it with the song. The songwriting is very strong on this record, is what I'm trying to say. So I do feel like Madonna's songwriting needs to be acknowledged as well. So uh, they also go on to say, because we're just about done with the article, but the Grammys are clearly aware of her star power. Madonna has been chosen to open the Grammy telecast 3 times, as many times as any artist since the first live telecast in 1971. She opened the show in 1999, as I stated earlier, with Nothing Really Matters from Ray of Light, and just like she opened it with the Celebration Tour as well. In 2001 with Music, along with Lil Bow Wow, and in 2006 with a mashup of her Hung Up and Gorillaz Feel Good Inc., on which the two acts were joined by De La Soul. The only other acts to open the telecast 3 times are Houston, Paul Simon, counting an opener of Simon and Garfunkel, and U2 counting a guest spot in an opener by Kendrick Lamar. All 3 of these artists are certified Grammy royalty. Simon and U2 have since won multiple Grammys for both record and album of the year. Houston has won in both those marquee categories, albeit just once in her case. So I definitely see like 2027, like we're loving Madonna, we're living for Madonna right now in this whole era, but I definitely feel like because of course Confessions too, everybody's loving the record, all this other stuff. But I definitely feel 2027 is going to be her year. She's going, oh, I already see it now. And call me a soothsayer or whatever, but go ahead. I do believe what she said when she told Graham Norton she is going to be doing a couple of promo spots where she will continue to promote the album. She'll be popping up at places and doing performances. I definitely feel like we will see her open the Grammys and be there and nab a bunch of awards. So this will definitely be a great year for us to be watching the Grammys because there's so much good music that came out this year. I also think Slater needs to get her flowers on this Worst Girl in America because that album is everything. She needs to be nominated as well as Kim Petras on Detour. Those 3 albums definitely need their flowers. Um, Also, I believe she'll be opening up a festival, not Coachella. She's been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, and you already know how she feels about them Coachella girls, the new generation, because she said it when she was up there performing with Sabrina Carpenter. Y'all be sewing y'all damn phone and not be in the moment. I'm sure they'll be this way at Glastonbury, but for the most part, she will be at Glastonbury headlining. I don't know where she'll be headlining there, because they were saying she might not even do the Legend stage. because Madonna don't want to be seen, I guess, as a legend. But I don't think she's going to do the legend stage. Well, I do truly believe she'll be doing Glastonbury. After Glastonbury, then I definitely see once she's done with the little promotional stuff, she'll be knee deep into gearing up to tour for this new album next summer. So I definitely feel like that's what we'll be going. We will be confessing up until 2028. So shout out to you, Madonna. And last but certainly not least, I do want to give her another shout out because there's this she has a new book. Well, there is a new book about Madonna coming out, which I think is relatively interesting that we can get into. And it will feature never before seen portraits by Ken Reagan. So a new Madonna photo book is on the way. It's called Madonna Into the Groove, and it's set for release this October and will feature images by famed rock and roll photographer Ken Reagan, plus accompanying text by former Rolling Stone staff member Tomas Mir. Madonna Into the Groove features images of the Queen of Pop from 1985. That year found her on the Virgin Tour, performing at Live Aid and starring in the screwball comedy Desperately Seeking Susan. Across approximately 200 pages, the new photo book, sees portraits of the rising star as she became a global icon. Per the press release, the book will feature an array of photographs taken in both intimate and public settings. They include photos of Madonna in the studio and hotel bedroom, working out at the gym, and performing on stage. Reagan was one of the most prolific and sought after photographers of the 20th century. He began his career in the 70s and photographed figures and bands like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Revue. He also shot the Kennedy family, as in he took pictures of them. Because we talk about shot and the Kennedys, you got to tread lightly on what you mean by that. The Vietnam War and the Gulf War. Now, in 2011, all access to rock and roll photography of Ken Reagan was released. He died of cancer the following year. So Mir, who wrote the book's text, described the opportunity as an absolute honor, saying, unfortunately, and he said, I unfortunately never had the pleasure of meeting Ken, but through interviewing those who worked with him, I truly understand what made him such a visionary photographer. He approaches subjects with genuine empathy and respect. These images are a perfect encapsulation of his talent, capturing the Queen of Pop at a pivotal electric moment in her own career and music history. Now, in case you're interested in trying to get it, pre-orders for Madonna Into the Groove are available now via Insight Edition / Simon and Schuster. So if you want to get the book, definitely Google Schmoogle Madonna Into the Groove. Go up there, get your pre-orders, or go to your local bookstore if you can find one and pick the book up when it comes out in October. So yeah, that's all we got so far on that. And yeah, so I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story in regards of Madonna's chances of cleaning up at the Grammys in 2027, as well as this new Madonna Into the Groove photo book, 200 pages of photos that we have coming out regarding her career back in the 80s. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Now, child, we got a lot of comments, which I knew we was gonna get. So let's get into. This time, she also didn't chase Gen Z, so they came to her because they're going to 40. I believe I've said this before. The smart thing that Madonna and her people did was we weren't here to try to grab new fans. If the newer fans want to, if the young people want to come and be like, what's going on with Confessions 2? Everybody talk about Confessions 2. Let me listen to the record. And then they listen. Now, why am I making a Gen Z sound like a bunch of old people? But it's like, they want to go and listen to the record and be like, okay, let me see what all this stuff is about. I did hear that there were some people complaining the album was too long. That's too much. What, y'all want 30? Because y'all want a 30-minute record, songs 2.5 minutes, so you could be in and out and not really invest in it. Madonna's there to literally like tell you a story, which is what you would think that a lot of these new artists should be doing instead of just making music, algorithmic bops or algo pop, as I guess is what we'll call it. Shit for the algorithm. So, um, she focused on her fans. She focused on the people that have been there with her from the beginning, her worldwide global fan base. A lot of her fans are 40 plus. I could probably stretch it out to late 30s on, but I think if you was coming up in Madonna, you had to be like in your late 30s, early 40s and beyond. That would be like her youngest demographic that was able to catch on like mid 30s or whatever. And listening to all of that, it's just like you focus on them and you focus on your gay fans. And once you just focus on them, which is why she was going so hard on Grinder and all the other stuff, people was getting mad over the whole Grinder stuff. But I'm like, she's doing this to get with the her fandom. She knows the gays have been the ones that have stuck by her from the beginning. So that's what she did. And it worked. The gays came out in droves and bought her stuff. Love Island is officially an Emmy nominated show. Ariana, yeah, we mentioned that earlier in the show, which I was like, that's crazy. Madonna never had a huge Grammy support, only 3 general field nominations, 2 of them for Ray of Light. I'm still waking up with confessions too in my head. Madonna really did her thing. Which I had a Madonna hater in my comments talking about on my social media page. He always throwing shade at her, talking about she a cultural appropriator or whatever. I said, child, if you don't get off my line with that bullshit. Um, and said that he only like one song off the new album. I said, child, you a hater. Because if you only listen to that whole record, not a 16 songs, you only like one song, you done lost the plot. I can't take your ass seriously. Which Sabrina Carpenter collab has better odds to get nominated in pop duo? The song with child, I'm so over Taylor Swift and this fraudulent ass wedding. Which, funny enough, I knew this was going to happen. I went to work yesterday, and of course, security was talking about it. Of course, my ears was perked up. Like, what happened? So, and it's funnily enough, I was walking through because Bon Jovi played yesterday. They did a good show. I was walking through Madison Club because sometimes I walk through there if I want to get to one of the other towers. It doesn't make neither here nor there because y'all be like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. So I don't even need to mention it. So I sometimes I cut through Madison Club to get to a certain area of the building where I can go down for work or whatever the case is. Then I saw like stuff all up. I'm like, what? Why is the bathroom? Because normally I'd be trying to go up in that bathroom and use it real quick before I have to go. But things was blocked. There was stuff. I'm like, oh, so this must be leftovers for the wedding. I did laugh because one of my coworkers was like, when they brought the food into our break room with the cafeteria, they was like, we probably gonna be eating the leftovers from that wedding. They probably left the food left over from the wedding. We're gonna be eating that up in there. I was like, well, quiet as it's gonna. I don't really like the food at Madison Square Garden. Um, the food that the guests get is, in my opinion, better than what we be eating. So I don't really eat their food. And first of all, one of the ladies there pissed me off. So out of protest, I don't eat from them no more. I'll bring food in. This marking Madonna's return to Warner Music label could help if the company campaigns for her to get. Oh, you know they definitely gonna go hard for in the nomination category. The question is, will it be nominated for an electronic or pop album? Well, you know they really trying to push that dance electronic thing and the duo group thing. I mean, it is a pop album, so why wouldn't it? I definitely think they need to push it in in the major categories too. It definitely needs to be in the album of the year, and record of the year. Electronic album is easier to get than pop album. She could be a name check. Well, yeah, because it does fit in the electronic category. I mean, it is an electronic album, so I do agree that electronic album might be easier than pop album because who knows who they'll put up against them. I feel like when the Grammy nominations comes out later this year, which will probably be in what, like December, then we'll revisit this conversation. It's hard to tell considering the song with Taylor Swift is an official single, but it also still Taylor who's been having a terrible honeymoon week. She would be smart to submit in the electronic. Yeah, everybody's saying electronic category. Also, I heard Taylor Swift walk down the aisle to one of her damn songs. I'm like, girl, could you be any more corny with this shit? Madonna's first Grammy was 1992, Best Video Long Form Grammy. I mean, Madonna Blonde Ambition Tour Live. Madonna was nominated in 1986. She has many nominations and more awards. Beyonce plays it. That's probably how she got all them damn wins. Madonna doesn't play safe. She plays dirty. And as Nene Leakes said, you never win when you play dirty. Well, I hope not you said will Morning Dew Donk be. Why do every time when I read that name, Morning Dew Donk? Like that sound like Mountain Dew, which is nasty, and donks sound like you took a shit. Beyonce's 100th Grammy nomination. She's at 99 right now. Probably, but girl, she should have left that song in the vault, quiet as it's kept. The song is old anyway. Now, if you wanted to put it together and put it out, Madonna has 28 Grammy nominations. Fuck that Donk Donk Dookie song. Beyonce has a total of 99 Grammy nominations 99 Grammys, and a bitch need one more. I guess the Jay-Z remix. Speaking of which, damn, I forgot to bring up the Jay-Z story. So apparently, I'm sure y'all heard, but there's some shit going on with the tickets or something or another. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick since we talking about it. Somebody sent that to me. Somebody also told me Noah's Ark is Emmy nominated for outstanding. What is it? Oh, that was like the dance and the scene in the club when they were voguing and stuff, or it was like a big musical number. Well, good for them. I'm like, but that's what they get nominated. Well, to be honest, the movie really wasn't that good. I ain't gonna hold it. And I love Noah's Ark, but yeah, that movie was not good. Hold on. Yeah, because page 6 did this story where they were talking about ticket prices are dropping fast for Jay-Z's 3 Yankee Stadium shows, which is this weekend. There's a lot going on this weekend. The Mets got games this weekend. Bon Jovi is performing, I believe, on Sunday at the Garden, and also on Saturday we got Earth, Wind and Fire and Lionel Richie. Hopefully, Lionel Richie shows up to work because he ain't do it the last time. Um, and then we got Jay-Z at Yankee Stadium, so it's gonna be crazy. So it's after announcing 3 July Yankee Stadium concerts celebrating 25th and 30th anniversaries of the Blueprint and his debut Reasonable Doubt this past March. Ticket prices are finally dropping to New York's favorite Sun live in the Bronx. Based on their findings, all 3 homecoming shows slated to take place July 10th to the 12th at the house that the house that Jeter built are all now approximately $100 to $200 cheaper than when we last reported on how much it will cost fans to get in on April 30th. But then back then they said the cheapest ticket we could find for any one of this trifecta of Yankee Stadium gigs was $310, including fees on SeatGeek. Now, just a little over 2 months later, prices start at $183, including fees. That's for the July 10th Reasonable Doubt retrospective. For those without a calculator in hand, that's a cool $127 that you saved. Throw in the fact that you can save $10 by using. Okay, now they want y'all to use a promo code in the New York Post. First of all, fuck y'all, because y'all a bunch of racists any damn way. Now, these 3 concerts will be the Empire State of Mind Hitmakers' first performance, blah, 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 so on and so forth. He also headlined Philadelphia Roots Picnic Festival, where all of a sudden he went from looking like Boscow to looking like a camel with a fro. And then they talking about all his songs and everything. But here's the thing: I saw a lot of people trying to blame it on, oh, it's the resale. Oh, no, it's bullshit. First of all, we already know them tickets was not selling because the tickets was too damn high. And then on top of that, yes, you had to a point you have the scalpers who go online and buy up the tickets and then try to sell it for twice the price. And some people buy it, and then some people ain't gonna buy it. But now that you see that people ain't biting because we're getting closer to the thing and you stuck with all these damn tickets, now y'all want to bring the price down. So and even one of my coworkers yesterday told me he's going to Minnesota to see the WWE because they're gonna be performing there. I'm like, wait a minute, sir. First of all, why are you going to Minnesota to see WWE when we're gonna be working the WWE event at the Garden next week? So I guess that's not enough for him to get caught up with the whole wrestling thing. So they asked him, did he get his tickets already? So I guess, plane ticket, them going out there, hotel and everything is probably cheap. But he said no, he's waiting literally to the day of because he knows them price tickets go down. Didn't I tell y'all that? I said literally wait to the day of you go and buy the tickets. There'll be a lot of people that sit up here acting like they know so much about live entertainment. I work in live entertainment, so I'm gonna tell y'all what the real situation is. Not with these people who want to jump on social media with all they tired ass discourses that sit and act like they know everything about everything when y'all don't know shit. No shade, just saying. So I don't know when I said a 99 Problems thing and I did the remix with the Beyonce Grammy thing, that made me remember. I was like, oh wait a minute, I totally forgot about the Jay-Z story. Was the music nominated for a Grammy? I don't know. Was it? Oh, you said it was, and it lost to One Hit Wonder I Try by Macy. I was like, wait a minute. Now this is the funny part. Y'all sit there and talk about, well, y'all celebrate people on vocals. What the fuck is that sound that be coming out of Macy Gray mouth? Y'all want to sit up there and talk about vocals? I tried to say goodbye and I choke. Try to walk away and I stumble. Though I try to hide it, it's clear. My world crumbles if you're not near. Okay, let me stop. I do love that song though. So I ain't gonna hold you. That song had me in a chokehold back in the day. But yeah, anybody out here screaming for Macy Gray? Monty Ambition won her first Grammy for Best Long Form Music Video. But yeah, they were just like talking about music in general and not the video stuff. Because one of the things about Madonna, like Michael Jackson, she was definitely a pioneer on the visual front. Pioneer still, speaking of pioneers, Pioneer still owns the rights to the HBO Grammy winning special. To they know, wait, to they know how much money they would make from the sales of the DVD. Child, they ain't even making physical media anymore. The Grammys also didn't want Janet attending to the 2000 because of that whole titty gate. And that was another thing. Wasn't the Grammys on CBS? And Les Moonves was running things at the time. Then we found out the type of asshole. Well, we all kind of knew, but we all found, like all that stuff started coming about Les Moonves. So yeah, that was because of the whole thing. Then of course Justin Timberlake went in there being remembered he was white, went back to groveling to his people, and they let him back in the room. But they had to teach good old Janet a lesson. Bedtime Stories was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album and lost to Joni Mitchell. Even Take a Bow wasn't nominated. The Stay Playing in Her Face, Madonna could be competing with Pink Pantheress, Jessie Ware, and Horse Girl. Speaking of which, who was the guy that was it Nikki Reardon? Somebody just did an interview with Horse Girl. I think it was him. First of all, Nikki Reardon is cute. Let me stop being a hoe. But it was like, yeah, I think that's where I saw it, or it was somebody that did an interview with her. He said if she gets nominated in the electronic categories, possibly Kalila and Earth Eater Boards of Canada also released this year. Earth Eater's album, I think, comes out this week, right? Earth Eater is too niche to be nominated, but it would be a dream for me to see her get recognition from the Academy. She's definitely the Bjork of our time. Could Detour and Worst Girl in America be submitted into the electronic categories? It would be easier for them to win compared to the pop categories with Taylor, Olivia, Ariana, Bruno. God, the trifecta of boring, except Olivia. She did put out a good record. Ariana, I don't know what that in this era of boredom she's in with her music. Bruno giving people the same fucking recipe of music he's been giving throughout his entire career. But whatever. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Add Harry Styles to the pop category list. That category is full, and Olivia is the only one that put out a good out. Hello, that's what I was just saying. Like when you really look at it, Taylor Swift, nobody that last album she put out, drier than wallpaper. Ariana was paid that they paid that album dust. Bruno Mars, who? Um, and yeah, out of all of them, Olivia Rodrigo was the only one that put out like a record you'd want to actually listen to more than once. Because all them other records, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. If you like it, I love it. I hope she gets nominated beyond the dance category. Same. I really hope because I just think it's ridiculous that the only way they're gonna see like if that's all y'all looking at is the surface to me it's just very surface level if you're only gonna nominate her in the dance category because it's like there's so much more to the record. The whole point is yes, on the surface, it is a dance album. You're dancing, you're shaking your butt, all this other stuff. But when you look beneath when you get past that and you actually take the time to listen to the lyrics, it's a much deeper record than that. It's just you're using dance music, and it's like having to explain all this is just okay. Now, if I gotta explain all this just so that way you could take me seriously in all these other categories, then I can't say that she didn't do her job. It's just the fact that a lot of y'all are just ignorant to the genre of dance music. And I've always felt like the dance music genre has never been taken seriously by the Academy. I personally see Madonna getting awards for Confessions too in many you saying countries? I mean, yeah, I could definitely see the VMAs this year. I could definitely see the Europe Music Awards. I could definitely see her getting nominated in other. I mean, I could definitely see like, don't they nominate your Americans in like the Junos? The Junos is like the Canadian Grammys. So do they nominate any like best international art? Because technically, even though we're neighbors, Madonna would be considered international, I guess, because she's not Canadian. Even on Threads, they seem to enjoy it, but hate how it feels like one long song. Speaking of which, did anybody complain about? Okay, because how you gonna say it's one long song? It just blends into each other. I didn't care for Renaissance. Beyonce last good albums were subtitled, and absolutely, and I will go. I will give you that. I definitely loved Beyonce. B Day is another favorite of mine. Lemonade definitely. Lemonade is because I felt like whether or not if it was really her speaking on things going on in her marriage or it was something you and Jay Z conjured up, because y'all got about as the chemistry of y'all chemistry is about as no shade. Y'all chemistry is about as believable as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey, but with a marriage of convenience and business. So whether or not if the stuff that was in that marriage actually happened, it was believable. Definitely some great writing, and it was a good record. Renaissance, I get where she was trying to go with some of that, but it's not her best work, in my opinion. I do like the fact that you paid homage to Ballroom and this, that, and the other, but and I don't hear a lot of people out here with her catering the ballroom and using people's samples and didn't even tell the people, but everybody's so happy to be on, used by Beyonce. I ain't hear them same people that talk about Madonna's a cultural appropriator say that to Beyonce, except Khalees, who was mad because Milkshake got sampled, which on Energy, which I would have been like, wait a minute. First of all, you didn't write Milkshake. Beyonce did give you a credit on there, so you could have profited from the song you didn't write. And she kind of threw shade at her. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna take your name off. Taylor's wedding being trash, Jay-Z failing to sell out, Beyonce's new single completely missing top 100 Spotify charts. You think maybe it's just it's we're in the era of eat the rich, so eating the rich, including artists who have way too much money that they don't know what to do with. Because I know people you have to really look at the context. I know people still mad over the fact that she shut down Times Square. Well, not Times Square. She shut down Penn Station, that whole situation. People have to realize Madison Square Garden sits on top of Penn Station. Penn Station is huge. So it is like, and so even I get turned around sometimes. There'll be exits that I'll be exiting. I'm like, oh, it's gonna put me over here. Then I'm like, when I come outside, I'm like, where the fuck am I? And then I realized I went over too far and I gotta cross the street and go up the block. So it wasn't the block that I thought I got off. So there's a lot of pinpoints and stuff. And you have to realize, like, when you go down in Penn Station, you got the Long Island Railroad. You have, I think you also got Amtrak is in there too. You also get New Jersey Transit, and you get the regular subway. So there's so many different, and you got a lot of the stores and stuff that's down there where you can go eat and get something real quick. I know there's one place that they was telling me about a deli that you show your badge to get a discount. So there's so many different pinpoints and stuff. And for her to shut all that down because she didn't want people coming up and messing up her day, that really is kind of annoying because Penn Station is like in the heart of Manhattan, and a lot of people use that station to be able to get where they gotta go. This is something like I said the other day. The fact that people gotta walk extra blocks just to get to a destination, and it's kind of annoying to people. Who TF is still listening to Bruno farts in 2020? Renaissance is my personal favorite Bay album because it's so weird for an artist of her stature. Not saying that as an insult. No, I get it because normally, because like we were saying before, Beyonce plays it too safe. So I think that's what you're getting at when you say something like that, where you feel like, oh, she's playing it too safe. She didn't really like take no risks. And who knows, maybe Solange rubbed off on her because Solange was the one, where Beyonce is the biggest star on the planet. Solange had to figure out where she fits in the music world. And she was doing more left of center, obscure type stuff. And maybe the stuff that Solange was listening to rubbed off on Beyonce and she wanted to incorporate some of that in what she was doing. The Club of Love tour, I could see a special edition tour CD and vinyl confessions, 120-year edition, part two with some remix track. What are you, I was gonna say, what are you, on the team? Kevin, yeah, Kandi was sampled on Pure Honey. That was kind of like what I was referring to when you were sampling people's stuff without them knowing. That's what I was thinking about. As for Cowboy Carter, no one cared after the week it was released how it won AOT while over. Yeah, because I was like, th- that was a sympathy win. No shade. And I think it's because the year prior, Jay-Z took his self-righteous ass up on that damn stage and was talking about why they was ignoring Beyonce for winning album of the year and blah 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 and so on and so forth. And I feel like because he did that, or that strong arming and up there defending her and kind of giving like I control the situation around here, that they were like, you know what, let's just give it to her because yeah, quiet as it's kept, Cowboy Carter should not have won for album of the year. If you were going to give it to her for album of the year, she should have won for, as we said it before, she should have won for Lemonade, she should have won for Beyonce, and if you really wanted to give it, you should have given it to her for Renaissance because people resonate with that record more than Cowboy Carter. Not to say that black people didn't invent country music and this, that, and the other, we're aware of that. People just didn't want to hear country music from her. They don't give a good goddamn she from Texas. That's not what you built your foundation on. So for you to try to just go in this genre completely when that's just not how people saw you, they wasn't here for it. But they know Beyonce put on a fierce live performance. So for her to get that money, she knew she'd have to go out there and tour to be able to recoup what that album lost. Because Quiet as It's Kept, her fandom was not featuring that record like that. And if y'all say y'all was, you was a damn lie. Only way to get the 8 tracks and the elusive Kylie duet is the tour edition. But I can't wait till we get the one with Kylie and everything whenever she plans on releasing that. And who knows, maybe around 2027, Kylie will have a new album out and they could promote that song around the same time and they could have it on both their records. Beyonce walked into the Country Music Awards thinking all those country folks would treat her like everybody else and was proof. Did she even show up? Because it was so like, yeah, they were like, no, you have to actually come in and act like you're a part of the community, like get to know us. So you can't just make a record and just walk in and expect to just win. And of course, people saw it as racism. I mean, it's easier for people to take that route and go there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting there saying that racism didn't play a part because there were some people that, based on some of the microaggressions and certain things they say, I do believe that there was some racial undertones to people shunning her. But I do agree that, ma'am, you can't treat the country music scene like you do the Grammys. That when you know you're about to win an award, that's the only time you come out your trailer and all of a sudden you want to sit at the table so that way you can go up there and accept your award. But then you don't want to be bothered by anybody else in the room. So you couldn't treat them people how you be treating your regular pop peers. Brad had more legacy than that Yeehaw album in 2016 when she made a fool of herself with the Dixie Chicks. Not everyone worships Beyonce, especially not country musicians or fans. And you have to realize that, yeah, you got to come out of that whole, um, once you get out of that whole Beehive cult, then you start to realize, yeah, not a lot of people, look, no shame, my mother can't stand Beyonce. She calls her bouncy. I was like, why you go? Because she always moving around. I'm like, leave Beyonce alone. Yeah, I'll be turning to Chris Crocker. Yeah, I'll be defending her sometimes. But I'm just like, look, if you don't have to like an artist if you don't like them. And it's fine. There's a lot of artists I don't like. I'm sure there's a lot of artists other people don't like either. I understand it is Nashville don't want Taylor Swift. They see her doing country as a step up to her pop superstar. Pop superstar. Well, then, didn't I hear rumors there was something that she might be going back to country? That she's looking to go back into the whole country music sound and all other stuff. And I feel like, oh, so now that you've dominated all, pop music and everything, and you're the biggest star in the world, now all of a sudden you want to jump in the whole country music space again. You remembered your roots. And the question remains, will they open her up with open arms? Of course they run out of money. After everything they stole from all the money they've been stealing from our government and all the resources and things, they're running out of money. Of course they are. And Trump, of course, child. Well, I did see a video of, I don't remember who he is, but I did see a video on Twitter where they were chanting death to you know who. And my thing is this: you brought this upon yourself, sir. You're the one that decided to start a war with a country that didn't do shit to you. You decided to create this narrative and do Netanyahu's bidding. Who, sidebar, he's pissed because it was too late for them to brainwash y'all over there on TikTok, because the people on TikTok still calling what y'all doing in Palestine a genocide, and y'all thought that you Zionists thought by buying up TikTok that you were going to be able to control the narrative. The cat's already out the bag. People are still out here spreading their word. We already saw what it was because we saw a genocide, and it's the internet. We can thank them for that. See, the internet does good sometimes. We saw a genocide happen in 4K and in real time. So it's too late. The genie is already out the bottle. Beyond. Taylor is very boring when she taps into her pure pop bag. She is at her best, in my opinion, when she's writing sonnets, folklore, evermore, her first 4 albums. Well, yeah, because I know you're big on like writing and poetry or whatever. Come on, Miss, she probably should say her name, Taylor Sonnet. Come on, Miss Sonnet. Sonnet the Hedgehog. But anyway, let's get back into the rest of the show, because we only did 2 topics and we are an hour and a half into the show. Okay, so let's get into some Anne Hathaway news. So Anne Hathaway recently sat down with Josh Horowitz on his Happy Sad Confused podcast. It was him and Tom Holland. They did an interview, and they're out promoting. She's big and pregnant, by the way. They're out promoting The Odyssey, which I'm actually looking for. Speaking of which, I just remind me, I gotta get my ticket for Evil Dead Burn to go see on Friday, because that comes out this week, and I know The Odyssey comes out next week, so I'm excited to see that. But nevertheless, Anne Hathaway basically opened up because one of the questions that he asked her was about her audition process for The Dark Knight Rises. She thought that she was going for the role of Harley Quinn, which, Margot Robbie ended up playing that part. But when she met with Christopher Nolan back during The Dark Knight Rises when that was being made, she found out that she was playing Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. So we do have that clip. Look, fair use, internet. So don't come at me for using the videos and all the other stuff. So we have that clip. We're going to watch that clip, and then we are going to come back and we're going to talk. Please hold.
Can I take you back? Obviously, this is Tom's first time working with Chris. You've obviously worked with him a few times. Probably about 15 years ago, I imagine, is when you meet him for an audition. You walk in, you think it's Harley Quinn.
I do.
and you
nailed that one.
I mean, that's got to be a pivot in the room. You're like,
well, luckily, but here's the thing that worked in my favor. She's a chameleon.
Right.
So
I could do anything you want.
So I knew I was auditioning for, I was meeting with Chris for the female role in the Batman trilogy, the next installment. And I thought that I'd gamed it out, because I was just like, it can't be Catwoman because Michelle Pfeiffer was so iconic. It's going to be Harley Quinn.
Cool.
So I spent a week developing demonic Harley Quinn energy. And I was like wearing like weird jester flats and a striped top. And it was just like, and I walked in with like this like Harley Quinn underneath. And then about like 2 hours into our conversation, Chris is like, so the part's Catwoman. And I was like, transform.
Oh, no way.
So I just then like decided that I was like, well, this top is just very sensual and I was going to be very, and I just, yeah, like a psychopath.
And Tom,
Changed personalities like a psychopath.
Yeah, like Harley Quinn.
Tom went up for Bane. You were 16 years old. We'll know that.
Yes, I just could not put the weight on fast enough. Is what Chris.
I'm like, I hope that's a joke. So yeah, so she basically just opened up about that whole situation of she was originally up for the role of Catwoman, which I actually think is a pretty cool situation because here's the thing: when it came to the whole Catwoman thing, nobody beats Michelle Pfeiffer because Michelle Pfeiffer is iconic. I know there's people that's gonna come out, but Eartha Kitt, nah. Okay, look. Wasn't alive when Eartha Kitt was Catwoman. Yes, I'm aware of the Batman TV series when she was on there and all the other iterations, blah, 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 so on and so forth. My generation's Catwoman is Michelle Pfeiffer. I literally saw Batman Returns in the movie theater. And me and my classmate, Mario, who I found out years later was a homosexual, we was vibing, and I should have known this then. But who knows? We don't be when it comes down to when you're a kid and you're a homosexual and stuff. You ain't thinking about these things. The only time you thinking about all that stuff and terms and things is when people call you names and things of that nature. Other than that, you just a kid growing up trying to figure out and your hormones and all that other mess. But anyway, so he and I would literally quote lines from that damn movie, especially the lines we was always quoting were, of course, Michelle Pfeiffer's lines in Batman Returns. So with her being in that film, I will agree. Here's the thing. I didn't mind her version of Catwoman. I actually liked some of the stuff that they had her doing in the movies. The only issue I had with that movie is, oh my God, Christopher Nolan, you really need somebody to come up with some good fight choreography. Because the fight choreography, not just hers, but I remember even Christian Bale's fight scenes with Bane bothered the hell up. I'm like, why is he moving so slow? They would be like, like, what is this? Like, so the fight sequences in that movie bothers me to this day because it's like you want to really see some drab, real get down in the dirt type fight sequence, and it's just like, okay, I've seen snails move faster than the way they were fighting that whole thing. And then there was certain, like, when I would watch certain cuts, I'm like, why are they showing from this angle the same spin kick that Anne Hathaway did in that one scene as Catwoman in them heels? I'm seeing it from another angle. So I don't know if that was intentional or just whatever. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises, no shade, was not a good movie. It had its moments, but out of all the Batman stuff, I will say my favorite is what we've gotten from Robert Pattinson. So that's like my Batman right now. But the Catwoman, I didn't mind her Catwoman, and I like the overall costume that you can see here on the left. I love how. So I'm wondering. She said that she had to be going for. She thought she was going for Harley Quinn, so I don't even think that Margot Robbie got the part yet, if that's what she was thinking. Because I can't remember off the top of my head when we first got to see Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn on our screens. But I have to say, like, the way that she had that Catwoman, it kind of gave. I feel like it was her Catwoman based on the aesthetic. And I do remember this because I remember I did watch, growing up, old episodes of the Batman TV series. It's giving a bit of that Julie Newmar Catwoman type vibe with the ears and the long black hair and the skin tight outfit. Like it's like it's paying homage to Julie Newmar, that whole vibe. So I definitely like that. So they also said that Harley didn't factor into Nolan's Batman movies. Instead, we had to wait until so it was before that. But they said we had to wait until 2016 Suicide Squad when Margot Robbie played the anti-hero as a member of Task Force X. She'd go on to reprise the role in Harley Quinn Birds of Prey in 2020 and 2021's The Suicide Squad. Since then, Lady Gaga has played a version of Harley, Lee Quinzel, in 2024's critically panned Joker Folie à Deux. However, she was widely hailed as the best part of the sequel. As of now, the character is on the shelf in James Gunn's DCU. As for Hathaway, Catwoman was very nearly her second superhero role. Sam Raimi had wanted her for 2011's Unmade Spider-Man 4, where she was either playing Black Cat or the Vulturess, depending on which rumor you choose to believe. So there you have it. So that was who she was supposed to play. And yeah, so I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? We now know the real tea behind Anne Hathaway, and she thought that initially, fun fact, she was supposed to be going up. She thought she was going up as Harley Quinn. She didn't think that anybody was going to be like, Michelle Pfeiffer did such an iconic job as Catwoman. And sidebar, why have we never got a solo Catwoman movie with Michelle Pfeiffer? That role was so iconic. She should have gotten a spinoff out of that. But of course, this is at a time, and it still kind of is, where y'all just don't give women the opportunity to have their own franchises and build that. I mean, we only had one solo Catwoman movie with Halle Berry. Sad to say, that movie was god awful. But nevertheless, we got one. Unfortunately, what we got was that mess that Catwoman, that Halle Berry was in. And don't get me wrong, I like Halle Berry as Catwoman. I thought she looked good in the part. I definitely think that she, as part of the action, everything, definitely did her thing. The movie was just bad. The CGI was terrible. The director, I don't know what the hell was going. That script, Jesus Christ, it was just, the movie was just an all around mess. So hopefully one day Catwoman would get his justice. But I feel like we're at a time now, because they didn't give women an opportunity to have their own films, that men weren't, and women, I guess, weren't really going out supporting those movies, and men weren't really going to the movies to see them. So it's unfortunate. I wish it was a better situation, but it is what it is. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what Anne Hathaway had to say about how she found out that she got up the role for Catwoman? And it's funny, we can get like 8 million different iterations of the Joker with no problem. Nobody has a problem with that. But Catwoman, people get annoyed. Because I know people had a problem with Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman too. I didn't mind her Catwoman. But we won't be seeing her in the upcoming movie. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, we found somebody that didn't like her as Harley Quinn. But funny enough, I never watched the movie. The reason why I didn't watch Foley I Do is because I didn't like the first one. I mean, when I went to the movies to see it, I'm like, this shit is. First of all, I was bored. And number two, it just reminded me of like a Scorsese ripoff. That's what it felt like. It was just like Mean Streets and excuse me. What was the other one? I said Taxi Driver. Like it just had that whole vibe to it. And it was just like, I'm not I just didn't like the first one. I do feel like it was overhyped. And when I finally got around, I'm like, this is what everybody's all on. It's kind of like with Blair Witch Project. I remember when Blair Witch Project was getting all this hype, and I wound up watching. I'm like, this is what everybody's hyping themselves over. I just never the found footage vibe of movies just never resonated with me as a moviegoer. I just never liked it. But anyway, wait, what am I missing? What's going on? Madonna is bringing club confessions to New York City, and she will be there with Honey Dijon and others. Like people said, the Europe promo tour happened first, so New York is going to get one. I know some people say, well, didn't New York already get one with Times Square? But that's different. Sailor Mermaids in the building, they said they timed it to coincide with her appearance at FIFA World Cup halftime, but it sounds like her show is cut less now because Coldplay and Bieber were added. Did they just do that at the last minute? The club is being done at a place called Knockdown. I'm surprised she's not doing it at $3 bill. But then again, maybe $3 bill won't be able to accommodate it because they do have a nice little stage space. It'll get too packed up in there. $3 bill is a cute little spot though. That's where I had that little weed brownie incident. Oh, it wasn't even a brownie, it was a Rice Krispie treat. I think I told you that story. I guess the event is sold out. Honey Dijon announced it in April as Love Sensation. Yeah, I wasn't even aware of it, but I'm gonna be busy. And isn't the FIFA thing this weekend? So yeah, I'm gonna be busy this weekend anyway. I got a couple of shows that I'm doing, so I'm not gonna be able to go. Oh, child, I'm tired. Trying not to yawn on camera. All right, y'all. So now it looks like we got some Britney news. We got a Britney update. So I know a lot of people's been wondering what the hell's been going on with this Britney biopic. We haven't heard anything from a month of Sundays regarding the Britney biopic. We know John M. Chu is still on board to direct and everything. Well, now we got some great news. Apparently, they've gotten themselves a writer in none other than Liz Meriwether. Now, I'm familiar with Liz Meriwether, but I've never seen any of her work. But apparently, she is the TV powerhouse behind New Girl and Dying for Sex. Now, New Girl, isn't that with Zoe Deschanel? Never watched it when it was on. I just never felt like it was my cup of tea. And Dying for Sex, I'm not familiar with that either. But if this is somebody who's critically acclaimed and a lot of people like that type of stuff, I definitely think that she might be the perfect person to come up with a decent draft based on Britney's life. Now, the movie is based on Spears' revealing memoir, as y'all know, The Woman in Me, released in October of 2023. The book sold 1.1 million copies in its first week. The audiobook, read by Academy Award-winning actor Michelle Williams, faux shiz, who later starred in, that's that show, Dying for Sex. That was the one I think, wasn't it on FX? Or was it Netflix? It was one of them. I do remember now when they mentioned Michelle Williams. Okay, now I remember. With an introduction by Spears, was the fastest selling in Simon and Schuster history. In August of 2024, news broke that Universal Pictures landed the rights to the Grammy winner's best-selling tome, with Wicked director Chu and producer Platt attached to develop the feature. Platt's production company has a long-standing deal at Universal. Now, Spears shared the news of her secret project herself, writing on social media that Platt has always been my favorite movies and telling her fans to stay tuned for more news. Meriwether is a WGA winner for her work on the FX. Okay, so it was FX limited series Dying for Sex, which she co-created with Kim Rosenstock, and a PGA winner for the Hulu limited series The Dropout, about Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes's rise and fall from grace. Meriwether also received 4 Primetime Emmy nominations for her work on the 2 series, but her breakthrough came in 2011 with the 1-2 punch of writing the screenplay for the popular rom-com No Strings Attached, starring Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher, and creating the classic Fox comedy New Girl, starring Zoe Deschanel, which ran for 7 seasons. And shout out to Page Six, because they were the first ones that reported on Meriwether's involvement in the project. Now, Universal, isn't this the same ones that played in Madonna's face regarding her upcoming biopic? So y'all can make a Britney Spears one, but you can't make a Madonna one? And y'all out here crying about money and things? So I definitely look, when this thing get made, I need somebody to fan out and find out how much this what was the budget on this movie, and then get back to me on what the budget is, because inquiring minds want to know. And if y'all go and spend over $100-something million on a Britney Spears biopic, y'all definitely getting cussed out, because it's like y'all can do that for her, but you can't do it for Madonna, who is, no shade to Britney, a much bigger global superstar and has had lived many a life, a nice, long, interesting life. So this is the first bit of news that we have so far. I think it's great. We'll see how it all works out, because we definitely want to see this movie finally get made, and soon. Because who knows, maybe by the time 2030 comes around, it's probably when we'll get this damn movie. So anyway, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? The latest that we finally got some news regarding this Britney Spears biopic, and who's so far involved in getting this movie made. Because if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. So it's got to start at the point of view of a script first, before we can start getting moving with locations and all that other stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some news regarding The View. So in case y'all haven't been paying attention, ABC is still fighting with the FCC over them trying to come at the View over their opinions on the moron in the damn White House. So as y'all know, Joy Behar looks to act nothing like David Muir or Robin Roberts, but ABC asserts her program, The View, is entitled to the same protections as programs such as World News Tonight and Good Morning America. So ABC contends that a broad and cross-ideological consensus of commentators backs the editorial independence of The View amid an FCC investigation into the daytime talk show and whether it should face restrictions on featuring political candidates as guests. Well, look, what are they upset? They feel like they're not fair and balanced. But here's the thing. None of the Republicans go on any of the Democrat type show or the liberal type shows. And especially like they'll never sit down and have a conversation with someone like a Kyle Kalinske or Hassan Piker or any of those. They'll easily go on all these other shows where they're not really going to push back. And shout out to the ladies of The View who have been pushing back as of lately. They just had Marjorie Taylor Greene on the show yesterday, and I have a clip that had me cackling. I'm gonna play it for y'all in a second. And they had JD Vance on the show, which they ate his ass up. Like, he's not really good with the debates and stuff, so I don't even know why he was gonna try to be president. If he even tries to make that a thing, God forbid, if he decides to run in 2028, he doesn't have a rat's chance of winning. The only chance, and I've said this, the only chance JD Vance will ever see president in front of his name is if the current president is no longer in the union, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do. So I don't see JD Vance ever becoming president. I also don't see Marco Rubio winning either. He's more in debt allegedly with the booger sugar than he would be with the country. And don't even get me started on fake ass Ted Cruz. I've heard he's even got aspirations. Nobody vote for that ugly fat fuck. Nobody's voting for you, sir. I mean, you just got humiliated by Trump on stage, and y'all sit there taking y'all humiliation rituals, still getting your whippings on your butt. I think y'all got a kink for being humiliated. So they sit there and get insulted or whatever, laugh at it, think it's funny, and y'all down on the inside, and it's like, well, I gotta sit there with this idiot. Yes, because that was the only way y'all was gonna get what y'all want. It takes an idiot to be able, if you flatter them enough, you get what you want out of the deal. And this is the sacrifice y'all willing to make in order for y'all to have any kind of proximity to power. So you flatter the guy to keep him out of jail and all this other stuff, and then you kiss his behind and you still get whatever you want. So if I got to take a couple of lashings on the butt in order for me to continue to keep that proximity to power, then so be it. And that's what I get from y'all. But the fact of the matter is, y'all saying that the people of The View aren't being fair. I'm sure they welcome, excuse me, all political affiliates on the show. I wish they would include a couple of progressive candidates to come sit at that table, but they won't do that because they know when you are bought and paid for by corporate centrist interests, especially when a lot of certain people up there literally licks up the vaginal juice of AIPAC and Israeli Zionist propaganda, the main thing that they're going to sit up there and do is they want to continue to push that. You're not going to have somebody that comes on the show that's going to push against some of the things that they were saying. Like when you talk about, there was one woman who was on, damn, what was the name of that show? I think it was on one of the CNN commentators, or she was like just a regular reporter. And she asked a politician who's running. I can't remember his name, but I think I have him somewhere on my in my work. And they were saying, like, does Israel have a right to exist? And I was saying that, look, whenever they ask you if Israel has a right to exist, hit them back with, does Palestine or Iran have a right to exist? Because you always hear that. And there was this one politician, I gotta look into my notes, whereas where I pretty much had said that. And I was like, there was already someone who asked that finally. Because whenever you hear someone like a Zohran Mamdani or Michigan State candidate Abdul Al-Sayed, whenever they go on any type of show, that is always the question y'all want to hear. I'm like, why is that always the first question? Does Israel have a right to exist? Nobody says that doesn't have a right to exist. Of course they have a right to exist, but so do other people. And countries have a right to exist if everybody's going to be treated fairly and equally. But that's not the plane that they want to run on. The thing is, we want the right to exist. The rest of y'all know. Because we want your land, we want to occupy whatever it is that you have because it's ours. We have a right to it. To me, that's colonization. So one of the things I loved about it was that Michigan State candidate Abdul Al-Sayed went on this CNN thing, and this lady was asking him, she was getting on my fucking nerves. First of all, she looked like a man in a damn wig. But when she was up there, does Israel have a right to exist? And he was just like, I wish people would ask me if Palestine and and Iran and all these other places, I'm paraphrasing, have a right to exist. And it's like, yeah, nobody ever asked that. You always want to come with that moment. And she's talking about a bait you, got you moment, whatever. Yeah, that's what y'all try to do. And the fact that because he wasn't taking the bait, and I love the fact that we have these progressive candidates who happen to be Muslim are getting real smart on how to game y'all and a lot of the stuff of what y'all be trying to do. Y'all be trying to catch them in a moment. No, that's what you get with them centrist Democrats like the Kamalas and the rest of them, where they get easily flustered and want to sit and play to everybody when you can't. You either like me or you don't. I'm here for the working class people. I'm here for the actual people that we need to be focusing on universal health care, the fact that people are struggling to pay their rent, they're struggling to feed their kids, their gas is going through the roof, people can't afford a lot of stuff. It's like, and the companies, the corporations, the government just take, and there's nothing left. And eventually when people are up against the wall and you continue to take from them, somebody's going to fight back. And then when we get a situation, God forbid, that we don't end up in a situation like what happened with Luigi Mangione and the guy from that company that ended up getting pow, you're going to see a lot of that happening. And it has nothing to do with the fact that, well, we got to eat the rich, blah, 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 blah. It's the fact that people are tired of being taken advantage of. And I need these rich people, especially the ones on The View, to try to understand what working class people, what regular people are dealing with. And that's all we're asking. That's why I can't stand that fucking Sarah Haynes and that bitch Alyssa. I can't stand them two on that damn show because they try to push all that stupid propaganda. And it goes to show that, look, y'all got way too much money where it's like y'all can't even relate to the people. That's why I love when Sonny get up there, because Sonny will be up there talking like, I'm going to speak for the people, I'm going to be the voice for the voiceless in so many ways. So, now, ABC legal team, I should say, argued that the show was being singled out because it was disfavored. So the point I was getting to where I had to go on that whole little rant is because they're being disfavored by the Trump regime. And Brendan Carr, I believe, is the guy who runs the FCC. He is clearly in Trump's pocket. So he's going to go after them, just like he went after Stephen Colbert, and he also went after oh my God, what's the Jimmy Kimmel? Went after him too, where they got him fired or the show taken off. And of course, the people came back in protest, like, oh, hell no, put that show back on. And they did. So now ABC legal team led by Paul Clement wrote in their filing, the First Amendment does not permit the government to sit in the editor's chair. Yet that is the seat the commission now proposes to take, deciding which broadcast programs qualify as legitimate news and for those it finds wanting, compelling them to surrender their airtime to guests they never chose to feature. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr launched an investigation into the show after it featured James Tallarico, a Democratic candidate and a progressive, I should say, for U.S. Senate in Texas. The probe is of ABC's own station in Houston, which held the show the show is exempt from equal time requirements because it is a bona fide news program. The equal time regulation requires broadcasters who feature political candidates to offer a comparable time to rivals if requested. This is that bullshit game that Trump likes to play. It was like, well, you edited Kamala down to a certain point, and you didn't do that to me. But remember, he started all that mess, and instead of the companies, the studios, the networks fighting against him, ABC, which you do get a middle finger for that, Y'all gave him money. What did he do? $15 million just so we can go with? No, we're gonna fight this in court. I'm not sitting here wasting time on letting this man sit up here and spread these lies, because the reality is you didn't like the fact that anybody that says anything against you that you don't like, because you want everybody to kiss your ass. Hence why we have the Ellisons buying up CBS and now coming after CNN and Warner Brothers and all what they own. Y'all want to be able to control all of media and to be able to have people believing whatever narrative of what the world is that's going out there. Hence why you have to have progressive people on social media who have to create a lot of these shows or whatever the case is, so that way they get the word out. But then, of course, some of us have to deal with algorithm suppression, whereas like 10 people only get to watch your stuff. So they try to find ways to prevent your stuff from getting out there. Now, in response, the FCC and Carr have claimed that ABC is running a campaign of misinformation about the equal time rule. The View can still feature political candidates, but the network stations may be on the hook to offer comparable time to rival candidates. The law simply requires the offering of comparable time and placement. It doesn't dictate you have to be on any particular show. So to the extent of what a statement of law that's not consistent with that the law provides. And it's funny how now y'all want to follow the law when it comes to something that you feel like is not going in your favor. And it's like, yeah, we welcome everybody. We don't just want Democrats to come on and say what it is they want to say. We also invite conservatives to come on the show as well. Once upon a time, the conservatives never used to be afraid to come on The View. Now all of a sudden it's like, if y'all not kissing my ass, if you're not telling me what I want to hear, I don't want to be on your show. I mean, how many times already have they had Marjorie Taylor Greene on a damn show? Speaking of which, let me play y'all that funny ass clip I was telling y'all about. So yeah, we're going to play this clip and we're going to come back and then we're going to talk. Hold on, let me scroll on down, because this had me cackling.
We're out of time. As much as
y'all should have had me for the whole show.
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we don't.
So y'all heard that, right? Let's hear it again. She was like, y'all should have had me on the whole show. And Joy's like, no, we good. Quiet as it's kept. She probably the only one that makes sense. Like, why do we got to keep having this lady on the show? Like, we see the bullshit that she's trying to perpetuate. And they keep trying to push it or whatever, but she's not buying it. So they sit up there and let her say whatever. So this, and that's why I always truly believe with her with this whole Donald Trump is this and Donald Trump is that. All of a sudden now she's anti-Trump when she was out here pushing his rhetoric during his campaign and eventually to his win. But the reality is now that she's no longer invited in the club, which quiet as it's kept, ma'am, you never were a part of the club to begin with. So a lot of these women think because women can be cunning, especially white women, you thought that because you could be a part of the good old boys club and you was doing all their bidding and being, in the thing and pushing forth and trying to get women to vote for him and all this other stuff, that you too was going to get a piece of the pie. And they showed you, because wasn't at one point she was trying to run for Senate or something or another, and Trump didn't give her the endorsement, and that's when all of a sudden she got in her damn feelings and decided to turn on him.
We're out of time. As much as
y'all should have had me for the whole show.
No. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I said, child, this segment was enough. I mean, I didn't see it. I just saw that clip floating around. And I had to cackle because everybody was talking about it. So, like I said, so we can provide people with equal time and stuff, but y'all can't decide. But the reality is they're saying all this bullshit. We know what it is. The fact of the matter is y'all just want things to go your way, and you want your people to come on there and you want them to spread whatever misinformation that is you're going through your regime. You want them to say that on there and not challenge it. And my thing is, the media is always supposed to be there. Reporters, media, their job is to, if something is fishy and going on in the world, we should be able to challenge it. We should be able to be like, something in the milk ain't clean, and you have to answer to the people. It's the same thing like with Mitch McConnell. We all know that man brain dead. Why is nobody asking questions? Why is none of the mainstream media talking about, why is it that we haven't heard anything about him? You had Scott Jenner's smug ass all over CNN yesterday talking about, oh, I spoke to him yesterday. Well, so now you Oda Mae Brown, you speak to the dead, you hear voices. And that's why I was living for that woman on CNN that asked him, or was it MS Now, whatever stupid name. One of the reporters, one of the girls asked him, commentators, to call him up. Hummer. Now you a humming. So it's like, but you spoke to him. You should be able to get him on the phone and be like, hey, how you doing? Word on the street was that, and I never knew this. I remember hearing rumblings about it, but then it resurfaced. Apparently, Mitch McConnell was a part of the homosexual community and married into that Ling Ling lady who allegedly is a Chinese spy out of convenience. Then we used to call him, I think people still call him Moscow Mitch. So I do believe that when he had this little attack or whatever, and he ended up in cardiac arrest and going to the hospital, he probably is most likely brain dead. And what they're doing is they're trying to stall until August, when I guess that's around the time where, they got to be able to tell it, and then they got to run the seat. So they're trying to leave it where I guess they had a better chance of one of their own getting in, and the Democrat won't be able to fight for that seat. I just wish that there would be people that had the balls to actually push to find out what's going on. I've heard a couple of people asking, like Rolling Stone, I saw, did an article on it, what's going on with Mitch McConnell. I've seen a lot of people like Sabby Sabs did a video on it. Kyle Kalinske did a video on it yesterday, live from his car, because he's been banished from the house because he's on vacation. That shit was funny. I'm like, look, the one thing I love about YouTube is the fact that you can do a show wherever and people don't care as long as they get the information. So you don't have to get all some fancy studio and all glammed up in order to be able to get whatever news you need to get out of there. So there have been a couple of people online. I think, I'm not even sure if Hassan Piker's talked about it. I know he talked about that Graham Platter needs to step down from running up in Maine, which if you heard them stories, he needs to. But and I like Graham Plattner, but if you out here allegedly assault women as far back as 2020, what they said, 2024, 2023, around like recently, this happened a couple of years ago. So if you out here assaulting women as far back as a couple of years ago, oh sir, you need to step down. You should not be up in here. Like, we gave you a pass with the whole Nazi tattoo. I don't know when it was and all the other stuff. But if you out here assaulting women, we better than them other people over there. But at the same time, we're not just going to be like, because we don't want to give them that ammunition of being like, well, y'all said Trump need to step down, but you're not going to have that same energy for y'all candidate. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't go by political affiliation. If assault is assault. When you assault someone, they don't care what your political affiliation is. You shouldn't be up there working. Especially in government. Mr. Kavanaugh up in the damn Supreme Court. We heard him and Clarence Thomas, two alleged assault. Well, Clarence Thomas did go to trial. But anyway, so you remember Anita Hill, that whole thing. So I'll never keep abreast of the story as it develops. To me, I think this whole FCC thing is some BS. Y'all just up in here trying to play games and all this other stuff. Now, we do have some people out there that have been supporting ABC on, showing their support. Whatever. I heard a lot of people did sign a petition. They said the Foundation for Equal Rights and Expression, the ACLU, Ultraviolet and Tech Freedom. The network's legal team also cited a quote from Senator, not this one, they're just up there kissing Trump ass, Ted Cruz, who sharply criticized Carr's attacks on ABC's late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. The Center of American Rights, which has urged the FCC to enforce the equal time rule, arguing in a filing that The View is primarily an entertainment program, saying that is evident from three sets of acts: the co-host, the behind-the-camera producer and director, and the guest. Among other things, the center said that the first 5 months of 2026, the show featured 126 non-political guests and 12 political guests. But what the thing is, it's not even like who the political guests. What you should have did was keep it real and say, what your real problem is that every episode during Hot Topics, they be talking about Trump and all the stupid stuff that he does. But everybody's doing that. The I Had It ladies are talking about Trump ad nauseum. Kyle Kalinske is talking about Trump on his secular talk ad nauseum, because every little thing, this man wants to constantly be in the news, and he's always doing something that is hurting America. So nobody's supposed to talk about it. It's in the news. I wish they didn't spend every episode talking about who, but he loves all the attention. But he wants to control the type of attention that he's getting. That's the reality of it all. So shout out to y'all, ladies of the View. I'll definitely keep y'all abreast of the story as it develops, but I do think it's a BS. The fact of the matter is, yeah, they do have a lot of non-political guests on their show. It is an entertainment program, but they do talk about what's going on in the world, particularly, what's going on in politics, and they'll have political commentators come on, like Jonathan Carl, whoever, and come on in and give them an inside look and what's really happening out there, that you can get good enough in a soundbite for a certain demographic. If you want the real nuts and bolts of what's happening in the world that the View won't talk about because of certain guidelines and who they have to answer to and who runs things, then you have to go to more progressive people over on YouTube and get that information. So, like I said, the FCC, y'all are a joke. This is bullshit and just wanting to waste time, and they want to keep them tied up in litigation, but don't take the bait, because they clearly want y'all to do some type of tight-ass settlement like before. Hopefully y'all learned y'all lesson with that and the whole George Stephanopoulos thing. So I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this whole situation. What do you think about this BS situation regarding the View and the FCC won't let me be me on MTV, in the words of Eminem? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Child, I forgot to take the lower third out before I was going to y'all questions. Not the vaginal juice of APAC. Don't get mad when you started your Anne Hathaway topic. I left to go listen to blackout unreleased songs unbeknownst to the topic after New Girl was basically Gilmore Girls for 20 something. Yeah, I never really watched that. New Girl. I'm sure Liz Meriwether will be fine with the Britney biopic. She definitely has hipster credibility. Yeah, are hipsters still relevant in 2026? Who knows? In an alternate universe, Britney's biopic was written and directed by Sofia Coppola. That would be interesting to see her come from that, like Sofia Coppola, to do that. She can be. When she said no, I started laughing. I'm like, look, Joy is 83 years old. She don't give a shit. That was funny though. Joy was like, no, we don't need you for a whole segment. That's enough. Because literally, when I think of Marjorie Taylor Greene being a co-host, and I think that's what she wants. She wants a permanent spot over there. There's always been rumblings that that's what she's been vying for. She wants to be on The View, and I feel like if Alyssa would have stepped down tomorrow and they would have replaced her with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is literally going to turn into Nutmeg McCain 2.0, and we don't want that over there. Nobody got the time, the energy, or the stomach to be dealing with her and her polarizing ass attitude. That was a moment that Joy was a woman after my own heart, because I could have said the same thing to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Actually, with my Aries bluntness, I might have said words. Someone said, watch Thomas Massey get into the Senate through that special election. He's not hated as people think. Trump basically has picks. His picks make it through, but it's not a guaranteed victory. Well, a lot of times, when Trump tries to get his picks through, they haven't been winning. Because like we said before, everything that man touches turns to shit. The USA is out of the damn FIFA World Cup. He started trying to interfere and stuff, and look, now the USA is out. I said everything, and then you saw what happened when he came to the Madison Square Garden. The Knicks lost. So everything people touch turns to poop. We don't want you there. You're like Drake whenever he gambles. Anyway, so let's get into this story. So apparently, Jack Antonoff and Margaret Qualley are separating. So the other day when I was working the Bleacher show, I did notice I didn't see her there. Because I was like, oh, I remember he was married to Margaret Qualley, who I think is Madeline Stowe's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. And she basically, rumor is she might be in the new X-Men movie, but they've been throwing everybody's name around in that. The X-Men reboot. Also, she was in The Substance. She played the younger version of Demi Moore, for those who don't know who Margaret Qualley is. Excuse me. She's been in a couple other movies since, but that was her most big breakout part. So I don't know. A lot of people knew that she was married to Jack Antonoff, but after less than 3 years, they talk about a separation, which I don't know if anybody should be like. When I heard it, I was like, oh, but then again, I'm not surprised. First of all, he does music; she's an actor, so they're always going to be traveling, barely seeing each other, and you easily fall out of love that way. And I think he just, the Bleachers just wrapped up their talk. I think their final night was the Garden show that I worked. So Jack Antonoff and Margaret Qualley have separated after less than 3 years of marriage. On Wednesday, a source described the relationship as rocky to people. They said they argue a lot, and between her career and him constantly being on the road or working late in the studio, it's been difficult. Meanwhile, a second source insisted that they are figuring things out. The couple had initially sparked split rumors on July 3rd when the Bleachers frontman, who's 42, attended Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's MSG wedding festivities with his sister Rachel while Qualley was absent. And funny enough, she's like 11 years young. 11 years younger than him. She's 31, he's 42. Now, Antonoff was first spotted attending the couple's rehearsal dinner on July 2nd with the fashion designer. She also accompanied him to the star-studded nuptials the following day. Oh yeah, because they had the rehearsal dinner and the wedding at MSG. At the time, Page Six obtained photos of the producer entering the wedding festivities with his hands in his pockets, making it hard to see if he was wearing his wedding band. Probably because he knew y'all was going to ask or be up there searching and looking. You should go out like Madonna and start wearing gloves in your hands. They'll never be able to tell if you got a ring on. Amid rumors that Qualley was too busy filming her next movie to attend the wedding, a source told TMZ on Wednesday she had wrapped filming King Snake in June and is not set to start her next project, Possession, until much later. Meanwhile, Antonoff was seen on Wednesday at the same time news broke of their split, still wearing his wedding band. Ahead of their split, the couple had seemingly hinted at trouble in paradise for months. In April, Qualley changed her Instagram handle from Izzy Mostar. What? ISIMOSTAR. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce all of that. It's whatever that is. Which references her now estranged husband's song Isimo to Isimo Star. Okay. To Sarah Margaret Qualley, 23. Other fans also noticed the Bleachers had removed the song Margaret from their Bleachers Forever tour set list. The last time the band performed this song, inspired by the actors, was during their June 13th show per setlist.fm. And on Wednesday morning, fans noticed the actors had deleted their wedding photos and wiped all traces of her husband from her Instagram account. This is how everybody always know if you no longer in a relationship. Once they no longer Instagram official, you start scrubbing the site. That was like, oh, there's trouble in paradise. The Grammy winner and the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood star were last seen together on February 1st at the Grammys. The duo's love story began in August of 2021 when they were spotted kissing during an ice cream run in New York City. In March 2022, they made their first public appearance together at the Critics' Choice Awards, and 2 months later, Qualley was spotted wearing a ring on that finger at the Cannes Film Festival. Qualley confirmed their engagement in May of 2022 with a series of PDA-heavy Instagram snaps, which she has since deleted. Oh, I love him, she captured the post, showing off her estimated 100-grand diamond sparkler. Antonoff and Qualley tied the knot in August of 2023 during an intimate ceremony at Parker's Garage in Long Beach Island in New Jersey. Oh, I know Long Beach. I've been there. And intimate, so yeah, they've been married since August 2023. It'd have been 3 years if they made it to next month. But now they're getting a divorce. And it goes to show, it's like, yeah, with him, he's always working late nights as a producer when you're working with different artists. It's like, yeah, you're going to be two ships passing in the night. Also, when you're touring, trying to promote your music, you're always on the road a lot, so you don't have time for each other. And then she's filming, so that's 2 months away, depending on the length of the movie or what type of movie she's doing. It's either 2 months or it might be 6 months, depending, like I said. So when you're an actor and your career is taking over, Jack Antonoff's career, he's been around for a minute. So when he's off, but it's still maintaining that career, he's gonna be busy too. So it's kind of hard when you're trying to make a relationship like that where somebody's got to be able to sacrifice their career if y'all want to be able to find that balance, whatever the case is. Thank God they don't have children together, but because that would make it even more like, damn, you really suck with this man. So if y'all can't make things work in regards of like finding time to hang out with each other, be around each other, whatever the case is, because you're so busy, then maybe it is best to part ways and you give her whatever coin that she's supposed to get out of the whole divorce settlement or whatever. Let her go her merrily way, and you go yours. But just don't get married, because a lot of times y'all out here trying to get married and stuff. Y'all can't keep the relationships working because when you're so busy, who has time to really invest in a relationship, especially when your real commitment is to being an artist and creating music and all that stuff. So it's sad to hear this, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles apparently in this crazy thing called show business. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jack Antonoff and Margaret Qualley separating? I mean, I was like, good, because like I said, I was wondering what was going on with them. I haven't heard about these two in a month of Sundays. I mean, I did see him recently, like I said, because I worked a show at the Garden, but I ain't heard much of her and him being around each other and all this other stuff. And now we know the relationship is null and void. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hipster culture will forever be relevant in New York City. It's always going to be there as it's a staple. Well, yeah, hipster culture is predominantly like that's a Brooklyn thing. All the hipsters are in Brooklyn right now, especially like if you're talking Bushwick and stuff, which is where I used to live when I lived in Brooklyn. I do miss Bushwick though. Oh yeah, Annie McDowell. They got the same kind of hair texture. Wait, who did I say? Madeline. Oh yeah, I said Look, I used to get Madeline Stowe and Annie McDowell confused. I think it was a lot of people that got them confused back then because they kind of favored each other. Apple TV announced a Donda documentary by super diehard fans of the Queen of Pop called Dear Madonna premieres July 31st. Well, I do have Apple TV, so I'll definitely be watching it. There was something that I was seeing online that was like clips of, I think it's been on Instagram, of like them having a conversation with Madonna fans, even for my film school project. I remember I did a video. I don't know, it might still be somewhere out there in the world. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe I need to look it up if it exists. It was called Confessions of a Madonna Fan. This was during the Confessions era. And I did a video of it of a friend of mine and just like him talking about his love for Madonna. And we got to do a little trip down memory lane of looking at all his memorabilia and all other stuff. And yeah, I did that back when that was like one of my projects in film school. So um I need to go look for that. But yeah, I wonder if that's the same, if that's kind of the same thing, because I've been on Instagram and I've seen these little clips of this whole thing about Madonna fans, and there was clips of a ex friend of mine that did the Madonna worship show parties. He was interviewed in it. I'm like, Chad, you got first when I seen him, I'm like, damn, you got old. But I said, he was in there and a bunch of people. Was that a read? He said, I've never understood that we're just too busy excuse. People make time for, well, that is true. They do make time. And my thing is, if y'all falling out of love, then let each other go. Sounds like a good documentary. I have to check it out. Thank you. They must have just announced that or whatever, because I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. I have Apple TV. I still haven't even watched the Lady Gaga thing that they had over there on Apple. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Tamar Braxton and the fact that she got paid dust by Kandi Burruss and Monica, aka Gunica, at the Essence Film Festival. So There was a bunch of young ladies, Brandy. I don't know what the hell Brandy was wearing. I got the clip. Brandy, Monica, and Missy Elliott were all there at the Essence film, the Essence Music Festival. And Missy was awarded the Essence Icon Award for Essence Fest Black Women in Music ceremony on Sunday. And there was like a little awkward moment that happened on stage before, while the ladies were lining up to get their little photos taken and the cameras was flashing and stuff. So in the clip, you're going to see that Tamar going around trying to everybody. But she burned so many bridges, don't nobody, black and female and singers, fuck with her. Because Tamar, quiet as it's kept, or is it really that quiet, has burned so many damn bridges and loves to play victim. Those are rocking highs on hand and likes to play victim and be melodramatic. So she reaches from across Monica to grab Candy's hand and say hi, and Kandi wasn't here for it. She was out here rolling her eyes, and then she also touched Monica's wrist, but the singer was not trying to be fake to her and all this other stuff. So one of the things I will say is shout out to the Neighborhood Talk, because they kept all the receipts, even down to the fact of when Monica, or not Monica, when Tamar went on Wendy Williams and revealed why she don't see it for Monica, and them two had a falling out, and she went and blocked everybody because she was in her feelings because there was something that was going on in this tour and she was going through with her husband and all this other stuff, and people I guess was laughing at her expense. And also I even got the clip from when Tamar and Kandi was on Big Brother. And they was on there together, and that's kind of like when they wasn't really seeing eye to eye, but I guess they kind of buried the hatchet. And why Kandi was confronted by Tamar, and Tamar was like why she felt that they had their little beef or whatever. So I'm gonna show y'all this clip. Baby, you see Brandy goes Sherry Shepherd, and then goes there go Tamar, the only one up there with no damn hair. And then that's Kandi, and that's Monica right here. Who's that? I can't tell who that is. And then I don't know if you really can see it, but she was high. But she there smiling.
As soon as possible, our program is set to resume.
I can't be fake. And if you look at it, Monica she pulled Misty closer to her, and Missy, that's what Missy do. She don't want to get caught up in no drama with none of the ladies and all the other stuff. So then here we got Kandi went and got on social media with a rebuttal. I'm gonna take that out so y'all can see it. And she said, Kandi giving side eye while keeping it classy. So that's what she wrote over there in her follow-up. I heard that Tamar did kind of clap back. I don't care enough to look it up because probably some long with it. Oh, she said something other that she got the #1 movie out right now, so she went in or whatever. I'm like, what? I said, what movie? Is you talking about that shit that was a remake of some movie? Well, I don't even remember the name of it. It said, well, her and Tay Diggs over there on Tubi. And I was like, if it's #1 on Tubi, ain't that hard to get a #1 movie on some tight ass Tubi. Now, don't get me wrong, no shade to Tubi. Tubi do be having some lit ass movies over there. The other day, I was watching their homosexual movies, and they be having some good content over there. The ads get on my damn nerves. Y'all know I hate an ad. But it's the one sacrifice I'll make to be able to get the amount of content that we get over there. So Tubi does have a great library of films on their service. So I have gotten back into, because for a period I wasn't really featuring Tubi like that, but I got back into watching some stuff over there because they be having some good movies. And movies I'm like, damn, I ain't seen this in ever, or in a month of Sundays. They have access to it, and I'm like, I'll put it on, but I'll sacrifice the ads. So yeah, there goes. I guess they froze the picture where it's like Monica looking down, like, Miss, go over there. I don't want to be bothered with you because I'm not trying to bring Gunica out on this damn stage and have these people looking at me like I'm crazy. Because when it comes to Monica, Monica gets along with everybody. Monica know everybody in Atlanta. And Tamar coming out showing her ass. I was like, girl, damn, you don't got no friend, nobody like you. Look, even her own damn sisters don't even like dealing with her. So yeah, this is the clip from Watch What Happens Live back when she was promoting Queen's Court alongside Nivea and Erica Lozada. And one of the girls on there asks her about there was some beef or whatever that she had with a housewife or something or another, and she hints at who she is until somebody figures out who it is. And y'all hear it when we get to the clip. Please hold.
Our question is, who is the Atlanta housewife that you hinted about having beef with on Instagram, saying her and her husband threatened you?
People think it was Eva.
Nope, it was not.
I know who it is.
It was not, and it really did happen. I'm not lying. Like, I'm not looking for attention or drama or anything like that.
Right.
But that really did happen. It was not cute. No,
Was she a full housewife?
She's a full housewife.
Oh my God.
It's not Kandi.
Ooh.
Oh my lamb.
I thought you and Kandi mended everything after Big Brother.
I thought so too. I had no idea.
Wow. Okay.
I'll tell you the story later.
Thanks.
Now, speaking of Big Brother, hold on. We'll get to the Monica thing in the beginning. In case y'all don't remember what had happened with Big Brother, I got the clip. So, in the words of Dorinda Medley, we're going to play this clip so we can give y'all a trip down memory lane over there on good old Big Brother courtesy. Why is Tamar so damn oily? That is way too much baby oil you got on that body. Don't nobody walk around with that much grease on them unless you plan on getting into some oil wrestling. Anyway, let's get back to the thing. She looked like a sumo wrestler with that.
I'm trying to figure out what's funny because it's getting a little disrespectful.
Well, look, you can't help but laugh because you're about some yitty yaddling and all. It's like, Tamar, what the hell you doing? Sometimes you be doing so damn much, you can't help but laugh at the before. You know, Tamar has a flair for the dramatic. She always wants to just make things bigger than what it actually is. And it's just like, girl, whatever the issue is, just let me know. Okay, so you thought that I was over here asserting myself in things that had nothing to do with me. If people going around saying stuff or whatever the case is, it's like, okay, I'm going to respond, but also I'll come to you and ask you. But if you want to come at me in a way of sideways, whatever, or you're not going to be specific as to what the issue is, then how am I supposed to react? Sometimes it's like, you know, you be in your head expecting people to just do what you want them to do. And then in the reality is, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I'm just going to respond how I'm going to respond. So it's a headache trying to understand what the hell the issue is with Tamar. Now we can move on from Kandi because these two, I guess, will never see eye to eye. So now on the Wendy Williams show, Tamar went and spoke on why she didn't mess with Monica, to which Monica was like, "Oh, bitch, so you gonna unfollow me on social media? So now I'm gonna block you, because what you can do is run around and be in your feelings about things, and you think that, oh, I'm gonna just start unfollowing people on social media because y'all hurt my feelings and this, that, and the other. When you can just step away from social media, leave it alone. I mean, yeah, I'm still cool with these people, but I'm like, I'm gonna start unfollowing people because you mad about something. So, okay, bitch, you mad at me, now I'm gonna block you. And that's what Monica did. And it's like, people are not just little toys that you could play with. And to me, it always seems like Tamar, her mind, based on the way she treats people, from Kandi to Monica to so many other people over the years, including Funky Dineva, who she was recently involved with. It's like, you use people like pawns on a chessboard, where people be genuinely thinking you their friend, but it's like everything is for clicks, likes, views, attention. You like using people and playing them like a fiddle. And people are like, oh no, I'm not some little toy that you could fuck with. And that's literally how a lot of the people was coming across, especially when Dineva spent a whole damn show reading her ass. It's like, no, people are not just some little toy that you could play around with and come back to play with them when you bored. And that's how she treats people. And it's like, no, people are human beings at the end of the day. And if this is the game you want to play, everybody's not going to put up with your shenanigans. So anyway, let's get into the clip of her talking about Monica and that whole drama with Wendy Williams.
Here. Well, here was the thing about what everybody hear.
Okay.
It ain't always the right thing. So, you know, and I'm going to go back to the day when everybody got in their feelings and wrote books and stuff about me unfollowing them, right? And here was the thing.
Because you were following her.
I was following everybody.
Okay, Tamar was following Monica, and then Tamar unfollowed Monica.
I unfollowed Monica, I unfollowed Tiny, I unfollowed Kandi,
and then Brandy said something shady about Monica on social media, and Tamar liked the shade.
No, let me tell you what happened. No.
Wait, speaking of which, and you notice how like she said something shady about Monica, but Brandy and Monica just went on a tour that made a whole lot of money. Funny how that works. It's like so we could put our sisterhood aside of the drama because it's like Monica ain't fucking with Tamar because I guess with Tamar and Monica there's no monetary gain from their friendship or whatever the case is. So I don't need to socialize and hang out with you because we don't make money together. Brandy and Monica have the boy as mine. That alone is something that you could play into regarding the nostalgia and everything. When Monica do her music, Brandy do her music, they come together, sing The Boy Is Mine or whatever other songs they want to intertwine with each other. And for the coin, they make it work. And they realize because of that nostalgia, they were willing to put whatever drama, who knows if they actually are genuinely, as grown women came together and let the past go, or if they're just pretending to be cordial because they know playing the whole nostalgia bait thing brings in the money. So I can see that why Brandy and Monica work better on paper and in real life than a Monica and Tamar.
No. Here is the thing. Okay, let me just go back so I can bring you up to the
Your
light.
eye makeup was
okay?
really good.
You here for it?
Yes.
Okay, she did it in 10 minutes. Ain't she the bomb? I changed my wig out too, girls. A lot going on backstage.
Okay.
Anyway, no, really, honestly, I unfollowed everybody that day that posted that show.
Okay.
I was rightfully so in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing personal against anybody.
That show when Monica went on.
She wasn't even on that day. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Exactly. I unfollowed.
We hear.
Well, here was the thing about what everybody here. Follow everybody because I just didn't want to see it. Like, it's one thing, like, when you hear about things, but you just don't want to see it in your face, right?
Yes.
And I had every intent on following everybody back because I thought I unfollowed at least 30 people that day, right? And so, when I went to go follow her back, she had blocked me. So I was like, right. So, Vincent does not have social. Follow everybody because I just didn't want.
So yeah, so that pretty much fits in the category of you cannot poke a bear and tell the bear how mad to get. You can't be running around here being like, "Oh, I was in my feelings," and blah 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 blah, and I unfollow everybody, and then I went to go follow people back because now I've calmed down. I'm not being melodramatic anymore. So now I'm ready to go and follow these people back. And she's like, "Oh, bitch, this is the game you want to play? Okay, I'm gonna show you. You ain't ever got to worry about me being your friend. You ain't ever got to worry about me following me back because you're not gonna have the opportunity." So that's why I'm just like, y'all need to stop getting so wrapped up in this whole internet, social media, whatever. If you got an issue with people, call them up. Have a conversation with them. Say that I felt like it wasn't cool that you laughed at whatever at my expense. I'm still genuinely confused with what the hell she talking about. If y'all know what she's talking about, drop it in the comments because she was like, that stuff that happened so long ago. I have to remember like what the exact thing is. And the funny thing when it comes to Tamar, and why she has falling outs with so many people, I don't think we've ever gotten a real genuine reason as to what the beefs and stuff are, because I feel like a lot of times they'll talk sideways about stuff but don't really address the issue. The only time I felt like we really got the true tea of what was going on is Funky Dineva, when he was going through what he was going through with her, and even spilled tea about her allegedly messing with Mendices and all that stuff, because he had nothing to lose at that point. And when you going after somebody that's in the pop culture blogger space of gossip, oh, you know that we're gonna know where the bodies is buried, and bitch, we're gonna show you the location. We're gonna pull out the little thing. We're gonna dig up the bodies. We're gonna put the receipts and the evidence out on the floor. Don't never be friends with us because we're gonna tell you business. And I'm gonna tell y'all that straight up. Don't piss me off. Because I'll tell you goddamn business. No shade. It's not show friends, it's show business, as I like to say. But yeah, don't piss me off because I will put your business out there, especially if it comes around to me having to defend myself from your BS. Because what you're not going to do is drag me down in the ship with your mess or bring me into something that I was not privy to. And now you out here trying to use me, which she does come across as doing a lot in these situations. So with all that being said, what are the people saying over here on this in the social media space regarding this whole situation? Because I know it was a lot in regards to trying to understand what the hell is going on with I was like, where is the situation? What am I doing? All right, so let's get into what the comments and stuff of what people are saying over here on the social media. So, or in the comments over there on the neighborhood talk. Because I think a lot of people not buying what Tamar is selling. One person said Monica face of candy eyes told it all. Another person said if it was the other way around, y'all would be telling Tamar grow up and how it's a time and a place. Y'all really got picks. You sound dumb because number one, I'm not sitting here being fake in front of nobody. And what it was that the ladies wasn't even giving privy to what was going on. Is the fact that the sleuths, y'all be looking hard and people picked up on the drama and the thing. I'm not sitting there being fake with somebody who has not been the nicest in my presence. I'm not being fake for nobody. I don't give a goddamn what y'all say. That whole when they go low, we go high, that was cute years ago. We're in 2026 now. This is the year of the petty. And I ain't talking about that petty, that fat bitch that was up there at the White House with the president recently. Now, if it was the another person, the difference is Tamar kept it cute. She's child. Kept it cute. And they paid her ass dust. Another person, everybody don't play that. Once the line is crossed, stay there. Absolutely. Don't cross over this line. Another person, I'm glad Britney is on the other side. All smiles, no side eyeing, and unbothered. When you're truly at peace in life, it shows. Another person, it's unnecessary shade for no reason. Tamar is actually being very mature. Somebody said Monica face took me out. And somebody said, Monica keeping the same energy, Denise. Another person said, people forget those blocks remain active in real life too. I get it, Monica. I do. And then they go and say, so Tamar Braxton puts out an olive branch and you decide to bring it the internet. My God, today. Well, look, just because you ready to make peace with whatever, we didn't have that conversation. You ain't put me to the side and was like, from woman to woman, I'm ready to make peace with whatever. You ain't come to me with that. You all of a sudden trying to be in front of the cameras. I see what that is. You trying to be cute in front of the cameras. You putting on an act in front of the cameras because you want a moment. So here's your moment. Have it, in the words of Jasmine Kennedy. You're not going to have a moment at my expense to where now, because I rolled my eyes and my body language is a certain way, now you're out here looking like the poor innocent victor that didn't do nothing wrong, and Monica and Kandi are the ones out here looking like the immature women, in the sense. I see the game because I understand body language and I understand people's intent in a lot of ways. So I'm not buying it. So y'all up in here trying to act like, oh, Tamar's this and this and that. It's like, no, it's a game to her. All of this is a little ruse, and she'll try to act like, no, I was just innocently trying to say hi to people. No, it's always a game with her. It's always an agenda. So stop. So somebody said, y'all bugging, she can extend an olive branch, but they are not required to receive it. They can keep their distance and not have any issue other than they don't want to be bothered. Absolutely. And what people have to understand is, like I said before, you cannot poke the bear and tell the bear how mad to get. You can't treat me a certain way and all of a sudden today, because you probably took your bipolar medication, allegedly, that you in a good mood. And then later on, your attitude going to shift. I don't like being around them shifty ass people. I don't mess with people. Like, keep your same energy you got against me all day long. Don't come at me nice today and then you a nuisance in an hour. Because I need to know who I'm meeting. When we come in the room, I need to know which version of you I'm gonna be in close proximity with. That's what I need to know. Don't hit me up with no surprises. I need to know what I'm about to get myself into. So y'all can sit up there and accept this. Oh, she trying to be cute today and cordial. That's cute. But I don't have to be. Who says that I have to change I have to match your energy because you in a nice mood, so now I gotta be nice to you? No, I don't fuck with you. So I'm not gonna give you this great energy because you in a good mood today. You could take that mood and shove it up your ass. So if this is what a lot of y'all like to play into, then you get to you do the fake and phony thing. Not high. I'm a Virgo. That's not how I work. I'm shady all day. So I say all this to say, what do y'all guys think of this story regarding Tamar and the whole drama with her and Kandi and Monica and the laundry list of women she don't get along with? I don't fuck with you. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I've long said rule for dating me is have the time to date me. It was on my list in a video years ago about why I'm single. I caught a lot of flack for it. Stories like this is why I didn't care. Well, what was the flack? Because you sitting there saying that you caught a lot of flack because you came out about why you're single. And yeah, I think one of the main reasons you should, I mean, one of the main things you should be doing if you're in a relationship, you need to have time for the person you're in a relationship with and figure out how you can make your schedules align so that way y'all can have that time that you spend together in a relationship. I don't understand people who, would get mad over the fact that, yeah, okay, I'm writing, and the reality is the reason probably why they mad at whatever that was that you put out, that list in the video, is because they're like, damn, this is the truth. And a lot of people don't like handling the truth. You can't handle the truth, in the words of Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. So that's probably what it was. They was in their feelings because they were like, damn, he's right. But I can't let him know that. Word got Olivia Rodrigo will be blocked by Donta. So guess who's climbing up iTunes to make sure they get her back at #1? Because everybody realizes it's only the US that Olivia is being mass bought. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. A lot of what Olivia does is like great American music. So of course, mass consumption would be here. Yeah, I like Tubi. I think I was only annoyed with Tubi because of they're affiliated with Fox, but they got good stuff up on there. Like I saw this movie, I think it was French called Sauvage or whatever. It was a gay film. I'm seeing penises and blowjobs. I'm like, oh, the Europeans, they put all that in their movies. It was about this guy that was selling himself and doing drugs, of course. I remember Tamar and her sister, the late Tracy, had a falling out with Tamar over her deciding to film Braxton Family Values when the girls was on protest over. Oh yeah. There was a whole drama with that. She went back to work and was filming, and they were protesting because it was like they wasn't getting money or whatever. And to me, I feel like the Braxton Family Values, that whole show, it was basically a bunch of family members, but the difference between them and the Kardashians, they got an actual talent. And the Kardashians out here making so much money from doing their reality show and stuff. I don't see why the Braxtons couldn't get the same respect. And they weren't. Tamar is great on TV, but I would be truly scared to be in the same room with her. That's what, and that's the thing I think people need to realize too. She is good TV. To me, she is not a good friend. Like, she's not somebody you would want to be friends with. We'd be good on working on TV together because you're entertaining, but you out there with the buses don't run. I couldn't really be a genuine friend to you because I don't think you understand what a genuine friendship entails. But anyway, so we are down to our final 4 topics. Before we get to our final 4, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button, hype the channel, hit that subscribe, do all the things that help push this show out there in the algorithm. And shout out to all y'all that have been hyping the channel, because I mentioned something about the hyping of the show earlier. One of my friends told me they got like a little thing where they show like how they've been hyping and what all that does. So it definitely helps with the show and the algorithms and the numbers and all that stuff. So appreciate all of y'all for your help in getting the show out there and showing your support and things. So now, without further ado, let's talk about JD and not Vance, Dupri. So Jermaine Dupri. So apparently Jermaine Dupri is suing Sony over some unpaid royalties from a lot of artists that he has worked with. And when I saw this story, I gagged. I'm like, well, damn. I mean, this is like stuff over the years where he's felt like he hasn't been making any kind of coin from Sony. And look, Sony out here ripping us off with the whole PlayStation situation that's about to go down in 2028. You surprised they ripped you off in the music department too? Now, Jermaine Dupri accused Sony Music Entertainment in Manhattan federal court of shorting So So Def $18 million in royalties. The hip-hop hitmaker So So Def Recordings and So So Def Productions sued Sony on July 6th, claiming the music giant spent years failing to pay proper royalties tied to Escape, Da Brat, Criss Cross, Jagged Edge, Usher, Mariah Carey, Bow Wow, Jaquan and Bone. Damn, that's like all of them on the roster. Jaquan and Bone Crusher. The complaint frames the fight as a 32-year business relationship gone sour. Dupri's side claims Sony accounting mess was not a small clerical error. The lawsuit alleges Sony underreported royalties, failed to report other royalties at all, and altered old statements once the money questions started getting louder. Well, child, I just hope you show all of this in the court. Now, they said, as it turns out, many of SME's dealings with So-So Def has not been lawful and have turned So-So Def in its business. This is according to the complaint. The crisscross claims carries the sharpest bite. Jermaine Dupri alleges Sony never reported producer or override royalties tied to crisscross' first two albums. Totally crossed out in Da Bomb until 2023. The lawsuit claims more than $2.2 million is owed from those albums alone. The filing says Sony claimed it did not know those royalties had never been reported. Dupri's side is not buying it. How are you not aware of royalties having been reported on artists? Don't y'all have people that pay attention to all of that, especially if they're on your roster? They're part of the company? SME attempted to conceal all crisscross royalties due plaintiffs for over 20 years in a separate royalty accounting system known to plaintiffs, the complaint states. So that means the crisscross is entitled to some coins. Well, at least one of them, because the other one, the dark-skinned one, passed away. The light-skinned one's still alive. The lawsuit also says Sony gave Dupri's side crisscross royalty statements in 2023 and 2024, showing more than $30 million in foreign sales. Dupri claims Sony still refused to pay at least $2.2 million tied to those records. Escape and the Brat also sit at the center of the fight. Oh Lord, now y'all owe Latasha money too? You know how greedy her husband is. The complaint says Sony underreported more than $960,000 in producer royalties from Escape's 1993 album, Coming At Ya. It also claims that Sony was, that was such a 90s title too, Coming At Ya. Remember Cleopatra Coming At Ya? That was on Madonna's label, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Anyway, it also claimed that Sony withheld more than $1 million in producer royalties from the Brat's 1994 album Functified. Dupri's side also takes issue with Sony's treatment of Escape's first two albums. The filing said both albums were certified platinum, yet Sony still treated one So-So Def account as more than $1.5 million in the red by June of 2020. It is unfathomable that Escape's royalties were insufficient to recoup the entirety of Escape's advances on LP1 and LP2, the complaint states. The lawsuit claims that the account generated more than $1 million from 2020 to 2024, but So-So Def did not receive those payments because Sony kept applying an old negative balance. So, child, they didn't want to pay y'all this money. That's what's going on with y'all. The complaint also accuses Sony of undercounting royalties on Jagged Edge's 1997 album, The Jagged Era. Dupri's side said Sony later issued amended statements, but only went back to 2007, leaving years of money in dispute. SME attempted to conceal the fact that additional monies were due to plaintiffs and altered royalty statements going back multiple years. The lawsuit states that 2025 deaths audit by Gelfand, Renard, and Feldman uncovered the alleged problems. Dupri's side claims Sony's conduct harmed the plaintiffs by more than $18 million, including more than $10 million in interest. The complaint also said that Dupri's So-So Def work and production deals helped create more than $200 million in gross revenue over 3 decades. SME knew that it was violating the contract within the plaintiffs and never attempted to disclose its contemptuous accounting practices to the plaintiffs. Jermaine Dupri, So-So Def Recordings, and So-So Def Productions, and I was about to ask how much money they're asking for. They said they're asking for they want to go to trial with a jury and everything. They want $18 million, interest, attorney's fees, and any other relief the court allows. So Jermaine, JD coming for blood. And I don't blame him because over these years, he produced so much content. And we can't sit up here and say that JD is not a prominent figure in hip hop. Everybody wants to talk about Jay-Z and all this other stuff, but JD definitely did his thing in the 90s and the 2000s where he ushered in so many, no pun intended, ushered in so many talent and things of that nature. And for Sony to sit up there and cook the books and hide money that is owed to these people, especially with the amount of money he made. Like Emancipation of Mimi was a huge record. Usher's Confessions and so many other records, what was it, 8701? Huge albums for Usher under Jermaine Dupri. And Jagged Edge were huge. Escape was huge. So, they was out here, they went platinum. So when you talking about that there was no money coming in and all this other stuff, and they were in the red and all that, like stuff don't make no sense. So if he did all if his people did all the math and they dotted all the I's across all the T's and they realized that something in the milk ain't clean and Sony was doing them dirty for all these years, especially when you're talking about Crisscross. Oh, I wanted to be a member, the third member of Crisscross. When I was a kid, I wouldn't mind being the Spinderella of the group. Look, every hip hop group need a DJ. So I always wanted to be in Crisscross when I was growing up. But yeah. To me this is crazy. I hope JD, if all of this turns out to be, he got enough stuff where he knows that he got Sony, right? We want him by the jugular. And if y'all end up settling, that'll be cool, but I wanted to go to trial because I want to be up in here knowing like the real. I want everything to come out at this point. So get your money, and I'll definitely keep abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Jermaine Dupri suing Sony over a lot of royalties from a lot of the talent that he has worked with, such as Escape, The Brat, Crisscross, Jagged Edge, Usher, Mariah Carey, Bow Wow, Jay Quan, and Bone Crusher. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Take on that kid from Mississippi who was found dead on that island. I know a lot of people talk about it. I talked about it on social media. The fact of the matter is these kids lawyered up quick. One of the kids' mother is a judge. Something in the middle ain't clean. And I understand, like, what people want there. I'm all for groups of kids who are of different races mingling with each other. Nobody is combating that. The fact of the matter is Black people, y'all need to stop being the cast member of Get Out in the middle of all these little white situations, meaning you should not be the only Black person in a sea of white people. That to me is you are the token. And this is those people like, see, some of my best friends is Black, but yeah, you're going to end up drowned somewhere or shot or whatever, or worse. I mean, what could be far more worse than getting pow-powed or drowned? And all of a sudden, this kid dies. The only Black kid in the group dies, and y'all immediately lawyered up. But the girl who he was with is cooperating with the police. So to me, it's like when you got these privileged white kids running around and because they have certain people in power, and we've noticed under this current regime, a lot of white people, when you got a lot of money, you got a lot of power, you got a lot of influence, they get away with so much. And they don't never have to deal with justice or justice being served because of, who they have in their corner. And so when you got enough, and it goes to show us that when you got enough money and resources, you too can get away with alleged murder. So it's unfortunate. I'm definitely going to look deeper into this thing because I know a lot of people talking about it and a lot of people are upset right now. And race definitely it's valid in bringing that up as part of the conversation. But it's unfortunate what happened to this kid. But parents got to definitely teach their kids to just not think, these white people like me, racism's over. Because remember when that mess came out back in the day? And come to realize these maggots is showing their true colors. We just had a bunch of damn white supremacists showing a picture of them on a bus. Child, they taking a bus into DC with the sole Black girl in the midst of these races. And everybody was talking about that picture because it's about as iconic as Rosa Parks in the back refusing to sit in the back of the bus. Like that's what it was giving. So, it is definitely something that parents need to teach their kids to just be aware and more vigilant in these situations. And don't think just because you got a lot of cool white friends and everything seems copacetic in the beginning, you need to also teach your kids to be aware of certain things. Like and remind them of history, like Emmett Till and all that other stuff. Because we've seen what happens in those situations. Just teach the kids that they history. They can be friends with who they want to be friends with, but you also need to teach your kids to be cautious and aware of their surroundings. But common sense ain't so common. I've been noticing, like, sometimes when you work in the guest service industry, you don't realize the lack of common sense a lot of people don't have. Anyway, let's get back into the show. Let's get into some LGBT news. I would have said homosexual news, but I don't think Oscar identifies as a homosexual. Oscar is a transgender child of Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony. So let's talk about him. So for the longest of times, I was always curious because I was like, we kind of always thought that, we heard stories about Oscar being non-binary, that sort of thing. Non-binary, I guess for a lot of people, usually they end up either continuing with the whole non-binary thing, or they eventually transition to the whole trans thing. And it seemed like to me, because Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, the other Jennifer, I would say Jennifer, but Jennifer is Lopez. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck have a non-binary child as well. I don't know if they identify as trans, but we've been hearing stories that Emmy is now Oscar and is probably I would think, a trans male. So I was wondering for the longest of time, because we know that Jennifer Lopez is okay with it. She's come to terms, because I believe her sister also has a trans child. It might be Leslie that has a trans child. But anyway, so that probably warmed Jennifer up to accepting her own child as being transgender. But I always wondered what Mark Anthony, little skinny heroin-looking ass, was thinking about possibly dealing with having a trans child. And the word on the street being Rob Shutter, apparently he's not that crazy about having a child who is a part of the transgender community. So Jennifer Lopez, as y'all know, is making one thing crystal clear. Her children come first. The superstar proudly shared intimate moments from twins Max and Oscar's high school graduations, embracing both of her children while publicly using Oscar's chosen name for the first time. Just behind the scenes, sources told Naughty But Nice the transition hasn't been as easy on everyone in the family. Jennifer has embraced Oscar with unconditional love, a source tells Naughty But Nice. Her focus has always been simple. She wants her child to be happy. Mark Anthony, however, is said to be taking a more complicated journey. Mark comes from a very traditional macho Latino background. Of course he does. The insider says he loves his child deeply, but fully understanding the transition has taken him longer. It's been an adjustment. Now, Anthony was notably absent from Oscar's high school graduation in May, fueling speculation about where he stands. Sources close to the family caution against jumping to conclusions, however. His absence shouldn't automatically be seen as rejection, an insider tells Naughty But Nice. This isn't about a lack of love. It's about a father trying to reconcile what he's always imagined with the reality of who his child is becoming. Those are two very different things. Well, I think that's one of the things that I notice that happens a lot in traditional households, is the fact that, when you are a parent and you have a child, you have an idea of what it is that you want your child to be. And then when you realize your fantasy and then the reality hits, and your kid basically is just completely left of what you imagine. Oh, I thought I would have a boy and he would play catch and do all these other things. And then turns out your son that you want to play catch with is a big old sissy and would rather be in the arts and doing musical theater, than throwing a ball. Which to me are just like great American stereotypes. Not every boy wants to play sports. Not every boy wants to get caught up in what it is to be a boy. Just let people try to figure out and be their individual self without them like forcing societal norms on them. So, with all of this, it's like I can totally understand why, in a way, that he feels the way he feels. But at the same time, you have to realize your children did not ask to be born, and he has a lot. He has close to 10 damn kids at this point. I think his current wife is pregnant with his 8th or 9th child. So his sperm definitely works. Because he out here just still fornicating and making babies and putting them in a lot of these coochies. At the same time, you should have known with all them kids you have, one of them or more of them one was going to come out part of the LGBT community. And you better hope and pray, if this is how you feeling, that your current wife don't end up with a child that happens to be trans or part of the community. Because you already know, like I always say this, a lot of times when y'all be out here with your homophobia and your transphobia, you know how the universe gets your ass back? Through your kids. That's exactly how they get you. They get you back through your children. So tread lightly out here with y'all hatefulness, because the universe has a funny way of making you face some shit that you don't want to deal with. So I hope he comes around. That whole Latin machismo crap, that is so tired. But it is something that is very prominent in Hispanic households and Hispanic families and all this other stuff. So I hope that they're able to work it out. But look, the kids wasn't at his wedding to his new wife, and he hasn't been showing up to certain events. And it seems like to me that since Hinofa and Mark divorced, that he hasn't been as active in those kids' lives. But like I said before, these kids ain't asked to be put on this earth. You and Hinofa decided to lay down and make babies, just like you laid down and had a baby with this current woman, or you've been laying down and having multiple kids with multiple women. These kids didn't ask to be born. You brought them into the world, but now they're at a state where they're trying to figure out who they are in the world. And now they're going off both of them, the twins, is going off to college. They both 18. So hopefully he comes around, because the one thing I always notice about particularly in our community, is that it's sad when family doesn't really support their kids who didn't, like I said, who didn't ask to be born. So when you don't support them on things that they just want to be their authentic self, and you can't accept it because you worrying about what society think or what your friends think or what this one, I don't give a fuck. This is my child and I'm gonna love them unconditionally. And if people in my inner circle or people around me can't understand that, you can kiss my behind in Macy's window, or we can't be friends. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jennifer Lopez and the rumors that Mark Anthony has been struggling with his child Oscar's transition? Well, so far I will say that it looks like Jennifer Lopez is celebrating her child publicly and encouraging both twins to chase their dreams, while the daddy is running around here being whatever he want to call himself. So yeah, and then she said that, well, according to the report, it said Jennifer, believes a parent's job isn't to decide who your child should be, it's to love them exactly as they are. And I truly believe that. It's like, it's not about who you want your child to be. Maybe you need to incorporate that stuff on yourself. You go out and try to be that person, that version of your child, and put that on yourself. But because you failed at whatever you failed at, now you want to put your dreams and your ideologies and all your stuff on your kid. When everybody out here, even though they come from you, you should encourage your child to be an individual. So love on them unconditionally. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts on this story are in the comments down below. Oh, excuse me. I'm just hearing about the Mississippi situation from my personal experience. Growing up in a predominantly white town, I'm the only melanated kid in the friend group a number of times, which has always got to be awkward. It's important for any child in a similar situation to be wary and pick up on red flags when being the sole melanin in a friend group. One of the important notes to pick up on political standing. Because that'll tell you how people feel if wherever they align politically. That don't mean you need to align yourself with it, but just know that if they align with a lot of the Trump ideologies, they don't give a fuck about you. And to me, it's just like, you leaving this kid alone with some people that they don't know, whatever the case is, anything can happen at that point. Me as a friend, I'm not abandoning my friend and leaving them somewhere. If you're with me, you're my responsibility. And luckily, I've had friends where they've kind of kept me in, their situation, where they've looked out for me. in situations where I've disappeared and I've gone on with like where he at? You came with us, you leaving with us. I'm not going to abandon you. That's why I think parents need to stop having expectations about their kids. They don't want them to be individuals. Absolutely. Mike Kilman's in the building saying, hey. Excuse me. It said his current wife ain't that much older than Jennifer's kids, but that's another thing too. These grown ass men in their 50s hunching 22-year-olds. So it's like gross. Mhm. Oh yeah. So by the way, I was like, yes, Mike Kilman is what was I gonna say? Oh, Maya's manager. Yes, the singer. And you said she's wait, what did we say that was oh, you talking about that she's not much older? And you said it always comes back to you. I had a relative that was ableist and her kid ended up child. Not you going in on the people that was disabled. Speaking of which, I had a sad situation that happened yesterday. So at the end of the Bon Jovi concert, right, this little girl who happened to me, I don't know if she was little, but she looked little to me. And you know, a lot of time when you look at these kids that got Down syndrome, they be 30 years old looking like they 12. So she made a little post or whatever that she wanted to get a John Bon Jovi. And my thing was, when my section was, I was next to the soundboard. So you know when you go on to concerts and they have like the little soundboard area? So I was placed on like the left side, well, more or less on the right side, but of the soundboard. So as we like trying to get everybody out of the arena and stuff, she wanted to give the thing because I'm walking down the street like, everybody, good night, I gotta go. In a respectful way, of course. And then I'm going down the thing and I'm seeing her, and he was having a conversation with the girl, and the security guard was like, I'm sorry, whatever, apologizing to her because she wanted him to give her note to John Bon Jovi, and he's like, well, he couldn't do it because it's like, yeah, we can't get backstage and deal with a lot of the celebrities. Even though I will say this, John Bon Jovi is a nice guy, especially if you ever work the floor and you're taking him to his section. Pretty cool, pretty chill. I was wondering if his son Jake was going to be there, and I may have to find out was he there and was Millie Bobby Brown there because I didn't see them yesterday. So, because you know that's his daughter-in-law. So, so he was telling her and the girl starts, I'm looking, I was like, let me like see what's going on. So I'm looking at her, she starts crying, she's like they're sad or whatever, pouting, tears coming down. And then the lady that was with her was like, oh, and then whatever. And then he's starting to get all sad. I said, I'm going, nope, I gotta go. Because I was like, I did not want to deal with that. It's just hard when you have to turn down people. Because, like, yeah, I understand that you worked hard on it, and they all think like we have this close proximity, like we get to have access to these celebrities. It's like, yeah, we work close enough with them, but we don't bother a lot of the celebrities and stuff. So they was real persistent. So she went and asked one of the sound people as they was cleaning up the whole sound area if they could give the note, and somebody over there took it. So hopefully it got to him. But asking us to do it, like, we can't do that. But you can ask the crew and see if they can help you. Wish I would have came up with that, but they came up with it on their own. They figured it out. Hopefully it got to them. You said it's awfully narcissistic how so many parents don't even consider that because people are selfish. Nobody thinks about any of that stuff. They think about, oh, something, they see something, they react, not thinking about, because, and you know, people lack empathy, people lack the fact that, you know, if things happen, there's consequence to your actions. So people don't think ahead. They see what's in front of them and they can't see beyond it. I forget what the term is where they say that they have people where you can you think about the whole process, not just what's at face value. You think about the beginning, the middle, and what's going to happen at the end should all these things transpire. I see all of that in my head. Whereas I'm not saying like I'm Raven Baxter where you go in the eye and I see the future, but it's like I think of a scenario and I could just see how in so many ways it plays out. I know there's a term for it, but I forgot what it is. I saw some of the pics and it's giving Outer Banks on Netflix. He stayed behind on an island and was supposed to get on a separate boat away from his friends. Mm-mm. And that's why I said, like, I'm not going nowhere if I don't know these people. One thing that slightly reminds me of the first guy I dated after coming out. He was short, Cuban, and had macho issues, such as hating when gays call each other girl, lookalikes acting alike, I guess. It's like, please. Y'all, I was like, because I'd be like, you suck dick, right? And you up in here acting like, oh, y'all call each other girl. Please. You stick a dick in your mouth. And you got the nerve to sit up here and judge queens for being queens? Fuck you. Anyway, speaking of queens, let's talk about one that's about to be on Big Brother. So it looked like Selena S. Titties got her wish because she was trying to play this current season of Drag Race All Stars 11, bracket number 2, as her own personal Big Brother episode. And it looked like from that, she ended up getting on Big Brother, the regular season, not even Celebrity Big Brother, which I was actually, excuse me, shocked by that they weren't on Celebrity Big Brother. Well, they didn't mention it was Celebrity Big Brother. They just said Big Brother. So on Tuesday, the network announced, and that'd be CBS, the house guests competing on the upcoming season of the long-running reality series. The initial 14-player cast includes everyone from a rocket scientist and an MMA fighter to a pickleball coach and a RuPaul's Drag Race alum better known as Selena S. Titties. The reality competition series follows a group of strangers living together in a house under 24/7 surveillance as they form alliances, compete in challenges, and vote one another out until one house guest remains to claim the $750,000 grand prize. This season's theme, Time Trip, will see the past, present, and future collide. Okura, who's 27, Chuck Anyanwu, I guess how you say their name, 27, Drew Campbell, who's 22, Haley Fogbarton, 29, Jason DePuy, that's Selena. Seems like he might be the oldest one in the house because everybody's in their 20s. He's 35, except Kamwela Kamu Kirk is 32. So yeah, Selena S. Titties is the oldest one in the house. They got Latrice, not Royale, Latrice Varrett, who's, oh no, I take it back. She's the oldest one in the house. She's 57. Lyric Medeiros, who's 25, Mallory Mauricio, who is 24, Melody Morris, who's 24, Rome Seymour, 28, and Taylor Brown, who's 27. So they said Big Brother Season 28 premiere schedule Thursday, July 9th at 8 p.m. Big Brother Season 28 premieres with a special 90-minute episode. I was watching Big Brother before when I had my old roommates, whatever, and I actually got into it. I might actually watch the season. I mean, I do got Paramount Plus, so I can watch without the commercials. So yeah, they got Thursday, July 9th, the July 10th on Friday, July 10th at 9 p.m. Big Brother live feeds going Paramount Plus. Sunday, July 12th, special 90-minute episode of Big Brother to cap season 28 premiere week. So you can see all of that and everything. That sounds pretty cool that we have that. And it looked like I said before, Selena S. Titties got her wish. She getting to be on Celebrity Big Brother. She's like a completely different person where you slim down, got this whole afro, just like a completely different person. We'll just see how entertaining she'll be on there. Now, speaking of Big Brother, shout out to out.com who did an article on excuse me, on 10 drag queens who they feel would actually do a good job going on Celebrity Big Brother. Because for the longest, how many times have we had conversations that we've heard from the Drag Race girls where they said, you know what? I would love to see a Big Brother version of Drag Race where you got a bunch of drag queens in a house and they doing conniving shit. It don't just have to be Drag Race girl. You can find probably like the gayest personalities, put them in a house together and have them do outwit each other, whatever the case is. I definitely think it'll be entertaining because ain't nobody more cunning and conniving than some homosexuals. But we definitely need a show like that. We need more different shows out there, in my opinion, besides Drag Race being the only pinnacle of all things drag. So, according to the thing, because there was some out from the main stage of the Big Brother house, the official Drag Race Instagram account commented on the casting announcement. Fans are already obsessed with the idea of one of their favorite girls gracing our screens again, and even Frankie Grande, who competed on Big Brother, commented, "I'm screwed," and it's probably because I don't know if y'all know this, but Frankie Grande and Selena S. Titties are really good friends. So it makes sense why you would see these two getting on the show. Now, on Drag Race Season 15 and All Stars 11, S. Titties was tested on her ability to serve looks, lip sync for her life, and make RuPaul laugh, but Big Brother is going to challenge her in brand new ways. Instead of spending time getting snatched for the gods and competing challenges, S. Titties will have to compete for a cash prize by living in the isolated Big Brother house with live TV cameras documenting her every move. And so, of course, with that being said, they came up with a list of queens, and you can probably see some of them up here already in this picture of who should be on the show. So, of course, Kandi Muse, who you know has competed quite a few times. Not only has she done Drag Race multiple times, but she also competed on House of Villains. And definitely with her New York attitude and main character energy, I definitely think that Kandi would make a perfect addition to the show, because remember, her infamous fight with Tamisha Iman is still untucked gold. So I definitely would like to see her on Selena has titties, see Kandi Muse on a season of Big Brother. Now, another queen they picked is none other than herself, Alyssa Edwards. So, who competed on Drag Race Season 5, All Stars 2, and Global All Stars. And then she also won that horrible Drag Race. I don't even remember the name of it. It was so bad, but she got a crown, so it is what it is. So yeah, Alyssa Edwards, I would love to see her on Big Brother too. She definitely would come with the funny one-liners. She's fairly entertaining. Remember her legendary feud with Coco Montrese? I could definitely see her on there. So yeah, don't get bitter, just get better. So I could definitely see her on doing the show. Plain Jane's another one. I mean, child, have we gotten enough of Plain Jane at this point from Drag Race Season 16? Because look, she's been on Drag Race for one season. She did House of Villains, but she was cut out pretty quickly. And now she's about to be on the new season. I believe that premieres this week, Project Runway. So we'll see how she competes on that show. But I definitely think that Plain Jane, with how her infamous, the things that she says and all that other stuff, she definitely would fit within the confines of doing a show and benefit wholeheartedly from a show like Celebrity Big Brother. We also have, of course, we can't do a show without the one and only Mistress Isabel Brooks, who I heard asked 2 shady questions over there on Roscoe's the other day to Kennedy Davenport, because they was out here talking about Kennedy's cooking. Where she did read George's for, because Georgia was like, "Oh, her food be salty as hell," and I'm like, "Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Kennedy's from the South, so of course her food gonna be salty." I remember one time I went to a friend of mine's relative house. I think it was in Pennsylvania or somewhere. No, it might have been Maryland. Child, when I tell you that pork chop, I felt like my blood pressure went through the roof. The amount of salt that was on, I'm like, y'all eat this? It's like it was a big ass piece of pork chop, and it was good too. But yeah, that salt, it took me out. But yeah, I definitely see Mistress Isabel Brooks would be perfect for TV. She be doing too much, but it's the fact of the matter is it works on TV. People like all that stuff, but she got to find a way to you might be able to do some crazy shenanigans and stuff on TV, and it might work on a sense of the producers will eat it up. But you also need to realize you got to tread lightly, because when them people in that house get together and vote your behind out, that's the last thing you want. So you want to be able to try to stay in the game as much as possible. You got to be cunning and figure out how to really play the game and not put such a target on your back that you being so annoying to everybody in that house that they're going to put your ass out in the first or the second episode. So I would like to see it on there, but it's you got to be able to know how to play the game, because it's a mind game. It's a different type of game than what you doing on Drag Race. Then they mentioned Raven. Well, was she able to pull herself away from RuPaul long enough to be able to do a show? RuPaul probably lose her mind having to find a new makeup artist after Matthew Anderson. So Raven, as y'all know, has always been an icon, and she is coming back to Drag Race Down Under versus the World. But people still have their speculations on what role she might be, or what position I should say that she might be taking. Some people are like, is she competing? Is she secretly a judge? And we don't necessarily know this, because they were like, well, why would she want to compete on a show when at this point she's winning. She's working, she's making, buku dollars from World of Wonder. You actually get to be RuPaul's makeup artist. So you're definitely making a beam from that. Why would you want to lower yourself to, and it's no shade to those who go back and do Drag Race, but why would you lower yourself to wanting to compete on Drag Race when you're winning being somebody who makes a lot of money working behind the scenes and popping up every now and again to give advice to the queens whenever RuPaul wants to trot Raven out every now and again. So hopefully she is a judge when we find out this, when we get to see this Drag Race under versus the world. Also, they mentioned Sasha Colby. Now, Sasha Colby, I'm kind of on the fence about, because while Sasha Colby is a pageant girl, she's definitely somebody who, when she walks into a room, the children just lose their shit. And she is an icon in so many ways, especially coming up as Miss Continental and being a prominent force in the drag world. Outside of that, I don't know if she'd be a perfect fit for something like Celebrity Big Brother, or just Big Brother in general. I would have to see that. I mean, don't just pick her because, oh, you want to see trans representation. You can be trans and go on a show like Big Brother. However, do you know how to play the game that is required to go on Big Brother and maintain staying on for multiple episodes? So you got to be able to show, can you be witty? Can you basically outwit a lot of those people that's on there? So then they also mentioned Katya from Drag Race Season 7 and All Stars 2. Now, Katya, I definitely would like to see. Katya or Trixie, you can give either one of them to pop up on there. And maybe even Bob the Drag Queen would be interesting. They also said Roxy Andrews. Now, yes, Roxy Andrews is a what do you call it? She is a pageant girl, but she also is somebody who can compete and someone who knows how to get people to come in her favor. So I definitely see that not only could she read somebody in the field, but she could also, get up there and really rally people to kind of do the things she needs them to do. They also mentioned Latrice Royale. I don't know if I can see Latrice doing it. I mean, we're talking about Big Brother. I just feel like they're just throwing drag names out there because y'all want to play it up like a Benetton ad or something. Oh yeah, we can't forget, we gotta add some black girls in because we won't be accused. Y'all only coming out for the white ones. So I don't know if I can see Latrice doing it. Yeah, she can make people laugh. Yeah, she be entertaining, large and in charge, chunky but funky, all that stuff, cute or whatever. But I can't see her doing Big Brother. Because I'm just thinking about the confines of what this show requires of people that goes on it. Now, they did mention somebody I did say, Bob the Drag Queen. And we've seen Bob on The Traitors. Bob has definitely been out here pretty busy. They said that he did a video, I think, reacting to Love, like watching and reacting to Love Island or whatever the case was. So I definitely think that he is somebody who is a reality TV connoisseur. He's always very inquisitive about things going on. I could definitely see Bob, because he has such a larger than life personality, competing on a show like Big Brother. So those are your 10 queens who they have chosen to do Big Brother. I mean, look, I don't know why they haven't chosen Silky Nutmeg Ganache. I definitely think Silky could possibly be a better fit. I think y'all need to swap out one of the, either Sasha Colby or Latrice and put Silky in one of their places. But yeah, I can. You have to think personality. It can't just be, oh, you cute and funny and all this other stuff. You got to be able to be cunning too. And I don't see cunning from Latrice or Sasha Colby. Sasha Colby is a pageant girl. She gives pageant tease. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Who you think should be on the show, and what other queens do you think that were not mentioned that would be a good fit for Big Brother? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. The biggest, straightest queen is for Selena finally got on Big Brother. The competition show she wanted to be on for more than Drag Race, especially after Drag Race proved to be a fluke for her. The way that Drag Race be treating a lot of the queens on the show with the edits, especially like when you talk about the people face y'all be playing in, like y'all play the Kyria face, y'all play in Kennedy Davenport face. Certain queens because y'all want the drama and all that. So it's like, yeah, they definitely played in Selena's face. Because y'all gotta have Selena come in and swap out Sam with Selena, and then you could have swapped out Jasmine for Morgan. I'll be tuning in just to see if Selena actually knows how to whisper. Now that's funny because you know she got a big ass mouth. T.A. Woods says, I like Plain Jane, not gonna lie. The last lip sync was top tier. They both ate. Yep. I know, I agree with that. That was the best lip sync that we've seen in a long time. Even Nasia Lopez said that was like a masterclass in lip syncing. And you know, the Davenports, they're going to eat down when it comes to a lip sync. This is Raven's Constellation Prize season for the crown. I'd rather have Bosco for the trans rep. She might be a good choice. Not, you sick of Bob. Chad, you ain't the only one, because when I play out this next clip of Silky, y'all gonna gag. So then another, I can't stand too whiny. Yeah, that voice could be, you know, annoying or whatever, but it's her voice. What you gonna do? But anyway, so all right, y'all. So let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about Silky Ganache. So Silky is the latest guest to appear on T.S. Madison's Outlaws podcast. And Maddie Conflatti asked her, the Reverend Doctor, about something that we've been complaining about for the longest, which is the racism within the Drag Race fandom. So we have that clip. We're going to watch that clip. Just like we're going to stop that train. And we're going to come back. And we're going to talk. Please hold.
What is wrong with the fandom?
When you are Black, you're not supposed to be loud. Because the moment, like you can see in the fandom, they'll be like, it's not that we don't like Silky, we like such and such, and they name all the Oreos.
Not the Oreos.
So when you are Black and you're authentic and you're true to yourself, they do not like that.
When you say Oreos, what does that mean? Black outside, white in the middle?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You want to name some of them?
No. No. No, I don't want to do that.
Well, Maddie ain't gonna name them because she want to keep her job as a judge on Drag Race, so she not getting involved. That's smart.
Put it in the comments.
I don't want to do that.
But honestly, you see that all the time. They'd say like, oh, it's not that we don't like Black people. We like...
Okay. Okay.
I caught that right. She said Bob.
Oh, Lord, they saw it. But okay.
I don't think that...
No,
they ain't see it.
they did.
Don't you put that in there.
They might. God damn.
But honestly, that's what they say. Those the first two to come to mouth every time.
Well, she ain't said what I didn't catch the second one, but I'm assuming she probably said Monet. Because when it come at least, and when it come to mind, I'm thinking Bob and Monet would be the ones Black on the outside, white on the inside. Also, if she wasn't so damn problematic with all them accusations, they probably say Shangela too.
You want to know the third one? How they see it? The camera's right there.
I know. Oh. Jesus. I wonder what they're going to put in the comment section. What is wrong?
Well, let's see what they put in the comment section, because you know my messy ass, I'll be ready. One person said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm Puerto Rican in the middle, and I love Silky Ganache. That's according to Nicole Page Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia. That's what she said. Bo Butler official, I can't be the only one that saw her clearly mouth Bob. They said just because she isn't good now, it's a racial thing. Wait, hold on, let me look at you. So this is why I gotta go to people page. Child, you white, of course. That's what you go. Well, it said BX Dominican. like I said, bitch, you white. So of course that's what you're gonna say, because you know them Dominicans be thinking they white any damn way. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So of course people are gonna say like, oh, because you not good and you're not talented, according to Akira. That's what she said too, that Silky ain't talented. That you know, they automatically think, oh, it's a racial thing. I do think that race plays a part in it, because Black people, unlike some of y'all out here who have a close proximity to whiteness or are white, y'all don't understand microaggressions. And microaggressions is like, oh no, she's loud and all this other stuff, which is typically a stereotype that is perpetuated on Black people, that they're loud and they're uneducated, or you know, Trump's favorite term or the phrase he likes to use when he wants to describe Black folks, low IQ, which we all know ain't nobody's IQ lower than his. So someone put, but Bob is super loud and very outspoken. How is she an Oreo though? And I think where that comes from, it's not about the loudness, because Bob's not really loud to me. I mean, Bob kind of, his voice when it goes, it's always sounds like it's cracking or it's a little hoarse when he talks. But I don't get that from Bob when it's about he's loud and outspoken. That's not what they mean. I think what you're talking about is that Bob is also a safe, what you would call, in this is what the observation, a safe Negro, meaning that white people, he could walk into a room with white people and he is not a threat to them because of the company he keeps, the people he hangs out with. I mean, he's good friends with Madonna. Not saying that Madonna don't like being around people who aren't necessarily non-safe Blacks. I'm not saying that, because she's, you know, grew up in New York. She's been around all types of people in melting pots of people in New York. But when you look at someone like a Bob and Monet, they're not a threat to certain white people. Oh yeah, when we talk about certain people, we're not talking about you. We talking about them other people. You know, y'all know the things that I'm getting at, what I'm applying. So another person said, oh, Hershey LaCour said this: we can't be loud, we can't be confident, we can't be villains, but we can't be too nice. We can't be boring, but we also can't take up too much space. We can't be too direct. We can't be a favorite. That list is long. And so they wound up saying that. And Cynthia Lee Fontaine said, it's sad, but a group of fans, not generalized, sadly, they discriminate against Black drag queens. Needs to stop immediately. Silky is a superstar. I'm glad you have her on your podcast. And Coco Montrese said, can I have some more Hennessy, please? And then, and then, wait, is Coco Montrese asking herself, how are you, diva? Yeah. Another person said, Anya is a perfect example. Body damn near every challenge, argue with your mama, a ton personality, loads of talent, and her reign was treated so horribly by the fandom. So, and then Silky Ganache wound up saying, well, I guess she responded to somebody. Well, they go, Anya did some messy stuff, but she tore every challenge to shreds. And so I want to see which one is Silky responding to. Somebody called Improper Able. Where's that one? Because they wound up saying something here, unless somebody responded to. I don't know what happened to that that post, but they said proving she's willing to do anything it takes to win. And then Silky says, should we go down the line of messy winners? I know 4 without taking a breath. And so I don't know. I'm looking in here. Where is the names of the people that we supposed to mention? Well, I just said somebody said something that I said. Somebody said Bob and Monet, but the fandom can't stand Kennedy Davenport, Anya, Silky, Jasmine Masters, Raja O'Hara. It's a shame, actually. And somebody went and posted that part. Silky, do not give our Maddie a cardiac event arrest with this tea. And I saw her saying, oh, that was Laverne Cox that said and Silky said, I'm trying not to, auntie. Yeah, but everybody up here saying literally what I said, Bob and Monet. So who was the third one? And not you saying maybe Rue. Or that's another one where you could say like, among the fandom, people just look at RuPaul as being safe or whatever. So yeah, what Silky said is valid. understand where she's coming from in regards of all of this. I feel like a lot of people just aren't willing to understand. They're quick to just be like, well, I need an example, and this, and they try to play dumb or discredit what it is that she's trying to say through it all. But this is her experience and what she's had to endure a lot from the fandom, because we saw during Silky season that she spent a lot of time trying to, she was, now don't get me wrong, she was a mess during that season with Evie Oddly, and I do think she was doing too much going after Evie in so many ways. Maybe they passed things up. I don't know. I don't be following these girls like that. But during her season, we're going to admit that Silky was a nuisance, and she came in like a damn wrecking ball. Literally, because we had Miley Cyrus on her season dressing boy drag. And then when she came back for All Stars, she started to kind of dilute her personality a little bit because of so much shit that she was taking from the fandom. So she decided to dial it back a lot a bit. I'm not even going to say a little bit. And I feel like because of her doing that, she ended up having to get eliminated quite early in her season. And here she is back on this season of Drag Race, and I'm sure she's done multiple ones since then. But she came back on this current season, and she had her drama that she was dealing with, and now her and Akira are fighting. We're gonna see that play out in Friday's episode. So yeah, if y'all have not seen this episode of Outlaws with T.S. Madison and Silky Nutmeg Ganache, definitely check it out if you can. It is available on YouTube. And I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story of what she had to say? Who do you think, even the ones she didn't mention, because I'm sure she said Bob and Monet, but who the third one is? Or even if you don't know who the third one is, who do you think in the whole list of queens from Drag Race would fit perfectly in the category of her version of what she said, an Oreo, black on the outside, but white on the inside? So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know in the comments down below. Excuse me. So Monet is talented, love Silk, don't go out like this, sis. I mean, nobody's discounting Monet's talent or Bob's talent, any of that stuff, but she's basically saying like that there are certain black queens that are easily acceptable by white audiences. They don't deal with a lot of the troll and the fandom and some, the negative side of the Drag Race fandom, whereas certain other girls do. And I was like, they should have put the Vixen up in there too if I didn't mention her name, because the Vixen, even though she was kind of like going through a lot and a little over the top and crazy or whatever case we want to call it, she was going through what she was going through on the show. And the fact of the matter was, she's probably dealing with a lot of trauma, which production will play that up for some clicks, likes, and ratings. And she was dealing with a lot on the show at the time and didn't know how to navigate through the whole reality TV space. They don't give you a crash course on that. So, and she dealt with a lot of hate from the show too. Wasn't Jasmine Kennedy was on that season, right? Of the one with the Vixen. And Bob and Monet stated publicly that they enjoy. I forgot about that. Me thinks the third queen is Oh yeah, definitely. I could definitely see Corey King, because she was out here hunching Miss Butthole Collins. And Corey King, about her, definitely gives black on the outside, white on the inside. So I could definitely see like she probably was in that conversation. All three have close proximity to whiteness, are notorious for chasing white cock, and being brand safe for a bunch of boring white gays. Okay. This course have Bob and making vids proving how down. You're not the only one that's been on here to say that Bob is phony. But I could definitely say, child, I'm gonna have to call up my industry friend and we gotta have a kiki about this. I'm like, what you think about what Silky said about white on the outside and black on the inside, queens and things? The Vixen was season 10, Jasmine. Okay, so All right. So, all right, y'all. So it looks like we are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Once again, hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, hit that hype button, all that good stuff, so that way you know when we go live and everything else that goes with that. It's going to be a long week for me and y'all because I'm going to be working tomorrow up until Sunday. So I'll be back next week with a brand new episode of the show. So that's why I had to give y'all this show today. So yeah, I'll be back next week with a brand new episode of the show. Love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support and all that good stuff. And until next time, ciao, darlings.